Chapter 904. Chunbayan finally opened her eyes. She only took a glance at Chu Xiaoyang before her eyes lit up, making her ugly face not look that ugly anymore. She reached out her hand like she wanted to touch his face, but she quickly pulled it back and her eyes shrunk. Your Highness, Yin'er is very dirty and ugly right now. Yin'er does not have the qualifications to serve you anymore. Chu Xiaoyang revealed a faint smile. His smile was like the sun, warming Chunbayan's heart. Yin'er, what nonsense are you saying? This king is here to take you away. Take me away? Where? Chunbayan asked in a silly voice. Of course it's to our home. You are this king's concubine. You have this king's flesh and blood in your stomach. Your Highness, do you believe me? Do you believe that the child in my stomach is yours? Chunbayan was pleasantly surprised. Chu Xiaoyang did not say anything else. He picked up Chunbayan and his eyes fell onto her stomach. Her stomach was clearly bigger than before, but she seemed even lighter than before. It was as if there was only a pile of bones left. Yin'er, you've suffered in the cold palace. After returning to the palace, this king will feed you until you're fat. You won't be this skinny anymore. This king wants you to give birth to a white and fat son for me. Chunbayan's tears fell as she was filled with joy. She had waited for this long and hoped for this day, finally waiting for the man she loved to change his mind. Chu Xiaoyang held Chunbayan as he quickly left the cold palace. He had a smile on his face the entire time. Tomorrow, Chu Imo Chuan, I will bring my woman and child to witness your wedding. I want to personally see what kind of ugly monster the woman you're marrying is. The emperor's wedding was a celebration for the entire country. Although the wedding date was set in a hurry and the emperor had ordered for it to be simple, the wedding of a country's ruler was still grand and solemn. The civil and military officials all changed into ceremonial clothes and followed the emperor to the ancestral temple in the morning before returning to the palace. The wedding would be held in the palace, and Empress Dowager Zhou personally took care of it, making sure everything was in order without a single bit of chaos. In the red candles burning in the wedding hall, the civil and military officials were all gathered together with Empress Dowager Zhou sitting in the seat of honor. Imo Chuan was wearing a large red wedding robe. The bright red color made his eyes shine even brighter, making him look very dazzling. Today was clearly his joyous day, but his face was as calm as usual, not revealing any emotions. This made Empress Dowager Zhou's heart filled with anxiety, afraid that something unexpected would happen. Empress Dowager Zhou couldn't help whispering to Su Jin, "Su Jin, do you think the emperor is not satisfied with his bride? This widow doesn't think he's happy at all?" Su Jin looked at Imo Chuan. She knew in her heart that how could the emperor not be happy? He was just too happy, so he was desperately suppressing himself. Even if everyone here was added together, they still wouldn't be as happy as the emperor. He was about to marry the girl he loved the most. How could he not be happy? Empress Dowager, you're thinking too much. The emperor is the ruler of a country. If he's like other groom and only knows how to smile like a fool when getting married, then where would the emperor's dignity go? That's right. Su Jin is right. This widow is thinking too much. Empress Dowager Zhou laughed. Chapter 905. Su Jin said, "You're too impatient. The auspicious time is not here yet. Once the auspicious time arrives, the bride will naturally arrive." She was secretly worried in her heart. She hoped that the wedding would end soon and the emperor and Miss Chun would enter the nuptial chambers. At that time, the large stone in her heart would finally fall down. The auspicious time has arrived. With a loud announcement, the drums began to sound. Everyone in the wedding hall stood up and stretched their necks to look outside the door. They saw 2 rows of beautiful maids walk in. Following that, a bright red color appeared in front of everyone's eyes. It was like a ray of sunlight that lit up the entire wedding hall. Under the support of 2 maids, a slender figure with a red scarf on her head and a gold-embroidered robe appeared in front of everyone. Her posture was very beautiful. She was as slender as a willow and as graceful as an immortal. Although the crowd couldn't see her face, they could only see her lithe and charming figure. It It was obvious that the beauty under the red veil was unparalleled. The civil and military officials couldn't help secretly whispering. Didn't they say that the empress chosen by the emperor was a commoner girl? But looking at her dignified and noble appearance, how does she look like a girl from a commoner's family? She is even more eye-catching than a girl from a noble family. That's right, I've heard that she's ugly to the point where she can't be uglier. I really want to see her face under the red scarf and see if it's as ugly as the rumors say. I've also heard that she's a cripple. Nonsense, can a cripple stand this straight and have such a beautiful figure? That person's words were stuck in his throat because everyone could see the red-clothed bride slowly walking forward. One foot was high and one foot was low, limping forward. She really was a cripple. Everyone couldn't help letting out sighs of pity. Such a beautiful figure was actually a cripple. This was truly a pity. Chu Xiaoyang was also standing in the crowd. From the moment the red-clothed bride appeared in front of him, it was like his acupuncture point had been poked, and he was completely stunned. For a moment, it was like time had turned back, and he returned to several months ago, to the day he and Chen Ning were married. She was also wearing a dazzling red wedding dress at that time, but he only took a single glance before turning his head in disgust. He did not even bow to her, and sent someone to send her into the bridal chamber. He suddenly found that the slender red-clothed figure was actually very similar to Ning. Impossible. This was definitely impossible. How could she be Ning? Ning had already married the East Qin crown princess, so she wouldn't appear here. Chu Xiaoyang desperately told himself in his heart, but his eyes were firmly locked onto the red-clothed girl. He did not even blink as he tightly clenched his fists and the blood in his body boiled. She was too similar. She was too similar. At this moment, the red-clothed girl moved. She limped forward. Sighs of pity sounded around her, but she ignored them. She didn't ask for the support of the palace maids. She walked alone on the long red wedding carpet. The surrounding people suddenly quieted down. Everyone stared unblinkingly at the bride who was limping down the wedding carpet. They felt pity, sympathy, and admiration for the young girl. If it was anyone else, they would have already fallen from the criticism of the crowd. How could they have the courage to show their flaws in front of everyone? This girl was truly worthy of being chosen by the Empress Dowager. Chapter 906. Chu Xiaoyang's heart finally calmed down, and a faint smile appeared on his lips. She wasn't Ning. Ning was definitely not a cripple. It was just that their figures were too similar. Coupled with his longing for Ning, he had mistaken them for the same person. The emperor must have agreed to marry her, because she was a bit similar to Ning. Chu Xiaoyang thought about this while looking at Chun Baiyun beside him. Chun Baiyun's face had already been smeared with the recovery ointment, but it was a pity it couldn't be restored overnight. Her face was still as thin as a skeleton and ugly to the point of not being able to see people, so she had a thick veil covering her face, only revealing a pair of eyes. She and Chen Ning were sisters with the same father, but different mothers. In terms of resemblance, the two of them had a pair of charming large eyes. Only Ning's eyes were clear without any impurities, and Chun Baiyun's eyes were filled with shrewdness and calculation. Chu Xiaoyang did not know what kind of feelings he had towards Chun Baiyun, but sometimes when he saw her, he would vaguely think of her as Chun Ning's shadow. Just because she was a bit similar to Ning, he could not bear to let her die. As for the emperor, he wanted to marry this crippled girl as his empress. Would he be like him, unable to obtain what he lost, so he could only find someone similar to replace it? He, who would have thought that even though he was sad, the emperor would also be as sad as him. Chu Xiaoyang curled his lips and looked at Mo Chuan, who was wearing a wedding robe, with ridicule. Suddenly, his brows moved. He saw Mo Chuan walk forward and welcome his crippled bride. Then, in front of everyone's eyes, he picked her up and turned around, walking towards the wedding hall step by step. The guests couldn't help going into an uproar. Some of them were secretly laughing. The emperor was truly a bit too impatient, actually wanting to enter the bridal chamber with his bride. Some of them thought that the emperor did not dislike his crippled bride at all, and even seemed to love her a lot. Chu Xiaoyang stared right at the bride. Seeing her tightly held in the emperor's embrace, his eyes couldn't help revealing a look of hatred. Although he knew that it wasn't Chen Ning and that it was just a girl with a similar figure, he couldn't help being filled with jealousy. Empress Dowager Zhou finally revealed a gratified smile. She knew that the person she chose would not be wrong. Although she was ugly and crippled, the emperor would find her inner beauty. As expected, in just a short 3 days, the emperor was already feeling sorry for his bride. She smiled as she watched Mo Chuan carry his bride into the middle of the wedding hall before putting her down. "Let's begin the ceremony," Mo Chuan said to the stunned official beside him with an expressionless face. The guests couldn't help wanting to laugh. They hadn't expected the emperor to be so impatient. He had waited for so long, and now he couldn't even wait a little longer. Ku. Empress Dowager Zhou gave a few coughs. She looked at Mo Chuan and softly said, "Emperor, you should first bring the bride to worship the ancestors before bowing." "All right, then let's pay our respect to our ancestors first and fetch some wine." Mo Chuan took the wine cup, and the maid of honor on the side gave the other cup to the bride. The bride stretched out a slender hand from her red wedding gown and took the wine cup. Chapter 907. He suddenly had a thought. He wanted to hold this slender hand. Damn, what was he thinking? She was the emperor's bride, an ugly and crippled girl. She wasn't even worthy of being his Ning-er's foot washing maid. How could he want to hold her hand? Chu Xiaoyang really wanted to give himself a hard slap. He looked away from the bride and picked up the wine cup in front of him, drinking it all in one gulp. But he drank it too fast and it went down his throat, causing him to cough out a large amount. The wedding hall was silent and the guests were all holding their breaths, looking at the emperor and his bride with solemn expressions. Chu Xiaoyang's large cough attracted everyone's dissatisfied gazes. Even Empress Dowager Zhou looked at him with a displeased expression. Chu Xiaoyang's face turned red. He circulated his internal energy twice before stopping his cough. After paying respects to the ancestors, let's begin the ceremony. Ceremony officials, begin the ceremony, Empress Dowager Zhou said. She was a bit worried that a long night would bring trouble, wanting to finish the wedding as soon as possible. But up until now, everything had been going smoothly and nothing strange had happened. The couple quickly finished paying their respects to the heavens and earth. Now it was time for the emperor to lead his bride into the nuptial chambers. Mo Chuan did not say a word as he directly picked up his bride and walked into the nuptial chambers. His steps were fast and large, disappearing in front of everyone's eyes in the blink of an eye. The ministers couldn't help looking at each other in blank dismay, not knowing whether they should follow them into the nuptial chambers or not. Seeing the emperor's intentions, it seemed like he didn't welcome them at all. But according to custom, the more lively the nuptial chambers were, the more beautiful the life the newlyweds would have in the future. But in the emperor's nuptial chambers, if the emperor didn't welcome them, how could they have the courage to make a ruckus? So everyone looked at Empress Dowager Zhou. Empress Dowager Zhou's expression was a bit awkward. It was clear that she never thought the emperor would be this anxious, not even saying a few words before leaving. But thinking about it, she understood that her son didn't want everyone to enter the nuptial chambers. After all, his new empress had a terrifying birthmark on her face, and if the ministers saw it, they would talk about it behind her back. The emperor was young and tender. How could he accept this? Understandable. Empress Dowager Zhou thought about it and revealed a faint smile. She was very experienced, so it was easy for her to deal with this kind of situation. Then she made a few witty and honorable remarks, which set the ministers laughing. The wine on this table is the emperor's wedding wine. Everyone, whether you are good at drinking or not, please drink a few more cups. AI Jia has waited for 24 years to taste this wine. Come, AI Jia will drink a cup with everyone. Empress Dowager Zhou smiled as she raised her cup and drank it in one gulp. The ministers also raised their cups and drank it, making the atmosphere very lively. Chu Xiaoyang sat alone drinking wine. The ministers at the other tables toasted each other and talked about everything, but everyone acted like they did not see him. No one came forward to greet him, treating him like he did not exist. This was the first time Chu Xiaoyang had tasted being ignored by others. He was incomparably angry. Looking back to the reason, it was naturally because he had been publicly divorced by Chun Ning in front of everyone on the Eastern Field. He had become the first man to be divorced since the founding of the West Chu country. Chapter 908. Peng. Chu Xiaoyang was filled with anger. He forcefully slammed the wine cup on the table and spilled the wine, but the people beside him did not even look at him as they continued to joke around with the people beside them. His face was burning hot, and he was filled with shame. If he knew that he would receive this kind of cold treatment, he wouldn't have come. Originally, he wanted to attend the wedding and make the emperor embarrass himself in front of everyone. However, the emperor didn't give him the chance. After bowing to heaven and earth, the emperor carried his ugly bride into the bridal chamber, making it impossible for the plan he had thought of in advance to be realized. Your Highness, you should drink less wine. Drinking too much is bad for your body. Chen Baiyun had been carefully watching from the side. She could see that Chu Xiaoyang was not in a good mood, but she did not understand why. This king's matters. You don't need to talk about it. Just shut your mouth for this king. Chu Xiaoyang was very annoyed. He only had Chen Baiyun by his side, so he could only vent his anger on Chen Baiyun. Chen Baiyun was so scared that she obediently shut her mouth. Chu Xiaoyang drank for a while. He saw that the other tables were filled with people talking, and only his table was empty. There wasn't even a single person to talk to, so he was filled with anger. Are you mute? Why aren't you saying a single word? Is it that you're not even willing to talk to this king? If you're not willing, then scram for this king. Chen Baiyun felt so wrong that tears came out, but she did not dare cry, so she could only endure it. Your Highness, it's you who won't let Immerse speak. This king is telling you to die, so why aren't you dying? Chu Xiaoyang angrily said. Your Highness. Chen Baiyun forcefully bit her lips, not letting out a cry. Speak for this king. Chen Baiyun opened her mouth. Your Highness, what do you want Immerse to say? Say what this king wants you to say. Do you have a brain? Chu Xiaoyang's mood was very bad. He did not know why, but he felt like he was about to explode with anger. Chen Baiyun bit her lips and suddenly thought of something. Your Highness, the empress that the emperor just married seems very familiar, like I've seen her somewhere before. Which family's young miss is she from? Has Yin ever seen her before? She happened to ask Chu Xiaoyang the question he was most interested in. Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold snort and narrowed his drunken eyes. You've seen her? She's just a commoner girl. She has no identity, no status, and she is a cripple. She was just a commoner girl with no identity, no status, and a cripple. Haha, I heard that she's extremely ugly. How could you have seen her? But really feels like I've seen her before, and she looks very familiar. Your Highness, don't you think she looks like my elder sister? Chen Baiyun rolled her eyes. In fact, when the bride appeared, she was the same Chu Xiaoyang. She almost cried out in surprise. Although the bride's head was covered with a red veil, she could still recognize her with a single glance. It was Chun Ning. Yun. She heard that she would not. Yin, Chun, she had, she have. Chun, she have with Wang, she of the emperor. How did she become the emperor's new bride? So Chen Baiyun suspected that she had recognized the wrong person. It was just a girl with a similar figure to Chun Ning. Chapter 909. What? You also think that the bride looks like Ning-er, right? This king also thinks that she looks like Ning-er, but she can't be Ning-er. How could Ning-er be a cripple? Chu Xiaoyang was drunk as he giggled and shook his head at Chen Baiyun. Cripple? Being a cripple can also be faked. It isn't hard for a normal person to pretend to be a cripple. Chen Baiyun blurted out without any hesitation. Chu Xiaoyang choked on another mouthful of wine and began to violently cough. Chen Baiyun quickly patted his back, helping him calm down. Chu Xiaoyang had drunk a lot of wine, and his entire body was in a daze. But Chen Baiyun's words were like a bolt of lightning, breaking through the chaos in his mind and making him sober up. That's right, being a cripple could be faked. What was so hard about pretending to be a cripple? He could pretend at any time. Chu Xiaoyang grabbed Chun Bai Yun's wrist, and his dark eyes stared right at her. Yin, do you really think that the bride looks like Ninga? Are you sure? Chun Bai Yun felt the heat in his palm, and her body began to tremble with excitement. Her heart filled with a trace of hatred. His Highness would never care about her like this. He could not forget that cheap woman. He still loved that cheap woman. Even if he saw a shadow that looked like her, he would still lose his composure. What if Chun Ning really came back? Would he not want her anymore? She suddenly wanted to bite her tongue in regret. Why did she say that the bride was Chun Ning? What if she really was? Wouldn't she be sending His Highness away with both hands? But she wanted to attract Chu Xiaoyang's attention too much. She knew that no matter what she said, Chu Xiaoyang would not care about her. Only when she mentioned Chun Ning would he focus his attention on her. I. She bit her lips, feeling very conflicted. Speak. Chu Xiaoyang used a bit of strength, and Chun Bai Yun felt a sharp pain in her wrist. She couldn't help letting out an sound as tears began to fall. I just feel that she looks like elder sister. She really does. I grew up with her, so I can't be wrong. She is elder sister. Chun Bai Yun said with tears in her eyes. Her heart was filled with hatred. She hated Chun Ning to the extreme. She was sure that in front of all the ministers, the bride who had married the handsome emperor as the empress was Chun Ning. Thinking of this, she gritted her teeth in hatred. Why? Why did Chun Ning have this kind of good luck? Why did she always have to suppress her? Why did she always have to be higher than her? Why was she able to marry His Highness and become his princess consort, while she could only be his side consort? What right did she have to divorce Wang Yi as she pleased and turn around to become the crown princess, while she lived in the cold palace that was neither a person nor a ghost? Why did she jump to become the empress who was below one person and above tens of thousands of people, while she was still a side fae that was ignored and looked down upon by others? Chun had this kind. Why did she have this kind? She had become. Chun had a. Xiao Chu. Chun Yin by Chun had Chun Yang. The only person who could do this was Chu Xiaoyang. She understood Chu Xiaoyang too well. As long as she believed that the bride was Chun Ning, Chu Xiaoyang would not be able to accept this. As expected, after she said this, Chu Xiaoyang's expression immediately changed. Chapter 9-10. Just as the guests were drinking and laughing to their heart's content, a wine jar suddenly smashed heavily onto the golden brick floor. It shattered into pieces, and the wine splashed everywhere. What's wrong? What's happening? Which servant is this bold, actually daring to break a wine jar? No one thought that someone would make this kind of mistake in the emperor's wedding hall, so they all looked over. They saw Chu Xiaoyang stand up from the table. His tall and handsome figure was like a crane among a flock of chickens. His eyes were dark and deep as he stared at Empress Dowager Zhou sitting in the seat of honor. He raised his voice and said, Empress Dowager, the emperor has already been in the bridal chamber for so long. This minister wants to disturb the nuptial chamber. I ask for the Empress Dowager's permission. Disturb. The nuptial chamber? The guests all stared at Chu Xiaoyang, thinking that King Dingyuan really was bold. He actually dared to disturb the emperor's nuptial chamber? Wasn't he afraid of losing his head? But thinking about it, of course he wasn't afraid. Just because he was the previous emperor's son, just because he was the emperor's nephew, just because he had an inextricable relationship with the emperor could cut off anyone's head, but he definitely would not cut off Chu Xiaoyang's head. Empress Dowager Zhou stopped drinking the wine in her mouth. She was stunned for a bit before saying with a smile, Xiaoyang, the emperor likes peace and doesn't like noise. Today is his wedding day, so he could do whatever he wants. This widow doesn't want the emperor to be unhappy. You like noise? Isn't this place lively enough? Why are you all just drinking wine? Come, everyone go congratulate King Dingyuan with a cup. I wish him a son soon and a concubine's love and harmony. She resolved the awkwardness of the banquet with a few casual words. Who among the ministers dared to disobey the Empress Dowager's orders? So they all had smiles on their faces as they surrounded Chu Xiaoyang's table, toasting him cup after cup. Chu Xiaoyang couldn't refuse, and after being toasted by everyone, even with his deep internal energy, he couldn't drink dozens of cups in one go. He was instantly drunk, and his handsome face was dyed red from the alcohol, not even being able to speak clearly. No matter who toasted him, he didn't even look at them before drinking them all in one gulp. The ministers all understood the Empress Dowager's meaning. The emperor did not like noise and did not like people disturbing his nuptial chamber. So if they dared to disturb the emperor's nuptial chamber, the emperor would be very, very unhappy. This King Ding Yuan was a good example. The Empress Dowager was killing the chicken to warn the monkey. If he wanted to go to the bridal room, the Empress Dowager would give him a show of strength, making him so drunk that he couldn't get up. Let's see how he would go to the bridal room. Chu Xiaoyang was completely drunk. He picked up a cup of wine and poured it down his nose. In the end, he choked to the point of tears coming out. Everyone broke out in laughter. Ah, ha, King Ding Yuan is drunk. I think he's pretending to be drunk. Your Highness, this lowly official offers you another toast. Everyone laughed and continued toasting him. Naturally, they did not have any good intentions. They wanted to make Chu Xiaoyang drunk and see his ugly appearance. How interesting would that be? This was not the first time Chu Xiaoyang had made a fool of himself in front of everyone. In everyone's eyes, Chu Xiaoyang was no longer the powerful and cold-faced King Ding Yuan from before. He had already become the laughingstock of the capital city, becoming the topic of conversation for the citizens. Chapter 9:11. Humph. They wanted to see him, Chu Xiaoyang, become a joke. He would drink them down one by one and see who would be the one to make a fool of themselves. Chen Baiyun saw that Chu Xiaoyang was swaying drunk and his mind was not clear, so her heart was filled with worry. If Chu Xiaoyang was drunk, who could stop him? When the emperor and Chen Ning cooked the rice, it would be too late. She couldn't help pulling on Chu Xiaoyang's sleeve. Your Highness, you're drunk, you can't drink anymore. Aren't you going to the bridal room? Don't you want to see what the emperor's bride looks like? She said in a low voice. Who said this king is drunk? What do you know? This king is not drunk, not drunk. Chu Xiaoyang laughed as he raised a cup full of wine, but his hand trembled and the wine spilled onto his clothes. His entire body fell down, falling onto Chen Baiyun with a putong sound. He opened his mouth and vomited out with a retch sound. The wine spilled all over Chen Baiyun's body, and it was sour and smelly. Chen Baiyun was so disgusted that she almost vomited. She wanted to push Chu Xiaoyang away, but his drunk body was as heavy as a mountain, making it hard for her to breathe. Third brother, you're drunk. This little brother will help you sober up. Suddenly, a clear voice came from the side. With a flash of white clothes, a pair of strong arms lifted Chu Xiaoyang up from Chen Baiyun's body. I'm not drunk. Who says I'm drunk? I want to keep drinking. Xiaobai, why is it you? You're also here to compete in drinking with this king? All right, let's drink another 300 cups and see who can drink the other down. Chu Xiaoyang stared with a pair of drunken eyes as he giggled at the handsome young man supporting him. Chu Xiaobai did not care about his drunken words. He did not want his third brother to make a fool of himself in front of everyone, so he half supported and half carried him out of the wedding hall and into the garden outside. Xiaobai, I want to tell you a secret, a big secret. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly stopped. He put away his smile and looked at Chu Xiaobai with a serious expression. For a moment, Chu Xiaobai almost thought that he was pretending to be drunk, but he could feel that Chu Xiaoyang's body had no strength. He was leaning on him to not fall. Third brother, go rest over there first. It won't be too late to tell you any secrets. No, this king must tell you now. If this king doesn't stop them now, it will be too late. Xiaobai, bring me there immediately. Chu Xiaoyang swayed as he stood up and grabbed Chu Xiaobai's wrist. Chu Xiaobai felt like his wrist was caught by a large iron hoop. He couldn't help asking, Third brother, you're really drunk. Where do you want this little brother to take you? What do you want to stop? Of course it is to stop them from going to the wedding. Where's the emperor's nuptial chamber? I want to stop them from going there. I can't let them do it. I want to find Ning. My Ning. Chu Xiaoyang pulled Chu Xiaobai as he stumbled forward. Yang. Chu Xiaobai couldn't take it anymore. He forcefully pulled Chu Xiaoyang out of his grasp and shook his shoulder. Chu Xiao Bai Sha. There is no Ninger here. Ning had already married into the East Qin country. This younger brother will never allow you to destroy the emperor's nuptial chamber. You're drunk. This little brother will immediately take you back to the palace. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly opened his mouth and began to laugh. Chapter 9:12. Third brother. You're not allowed to say anything disrespectful to the emperor. This is the palace, not your king's palace. Chu Xiaobai looked around, but it was a good thing there was no one around. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly grabbed his wrist and loudly said, Xiaobai, you still don't know, right? The bride who just went through the wedding ceremony with the emperor is my Ning, who is also your third sister-in-law. Tell me, should I go and snatch her away from the emperor's bed? Should I take her away? Third brother, what nonsense are you saying? Chu Xiaobai's face turned white in fear. He quickly dragged Chu Xiaoyang away, but Chu Xiaoyang just stood there, not moving at all. I'm not speaking nonsense, and I'm not drunk. My heart is clearer than anyone else right now. It's Chu Mo Chuan. He lied to me. He lied to everyone. He used a smokescreen to take my Ninger away from me. In the end, in the blink of an eye, she became his bride, his empress. Chu Xiaoyang spoke in a very sober voice. The drunkenness in his eyes disappeared, and there was only anger left. Of course, he understood Empress Dowager Zhou's intentions. She wanted everyone to make him drunk and not let him go to the nuptial chambers. So he followed Empress Dowager Zhou's intentions and deliberately drank himself drunk in front of everyone. However, after he spat out the wine in his stomach and was blown by the fresh air outside, the remaining drunkenness disappeared. Chu Xiaobai's face turned green and his lips turned white. He looked at Chu Xiaoyang in a daze, not being able to digest the words he just said. He wanted to say that he was drunk and that everything he said was drunken, but it seemed like Chu Xiaoyang was even more sober than him. No, third brother, no, the emperor wouldn't do this. Chu Xiaobai shook his head. He didn't believe it. Xiaobai, you really trust the emperor to your heart's content. No matter what he says or does, you believe him. But why don't you believe me? I am your blood-related brother. Would I lie to you? If you are my blood-related little brother, you will come with me to find the emperor and take my woman from his bed. He forcefully grabbed Chu Xiaobai's wrist and stared right into his eyes. Chu Xiaoyang was very smart. He knew that he couldn't beat Mo Chuan. The only thing he could rely on was his little brother Chu Xiaobai. Third brother, it's not that this little brother doesn't want to help you, but you really have the wrong person. The bride is not Ning. This little brother will not break the emperor's nuptial chambers at this time. Chu Xiaobai firmly shook his head. Xiaobai, you are confused. Don't you like Ning? Don't you also love her? Even if she's wearing a red scarf, I don't believe that you can't recognize her. Even Qin Baiyin had just said that she was Ninger, my Ninger. We have to be tricked by the emperor. She did not marry to East Qin at all. If you don't believe me, do you dare to go to the bridal chamber with me and verify this with your own eyes? Chu Xiaobai gritted his teeth. Could he not recognize it? Actually, as a matter of fact, he recognized her the moment he saw her. However, he didn't say anything. Amidst the great shock, he chose to remain silent. He stood in the crowd and watched her. He watched her and the emperor bow to the heavens and the earth, husband and wife bowing to each other. He watched the emperor pick up his bride and leave with large steps, leaving everyone's line of sight. Chapter 9:13. Chu Xiaobai was happy for them, but his heart was sour and bitter. Unknowingly, the corners of his eyes began to moisten. He silently raised the wine cup and drank it. This was her wedding wine, so he had to drink it. However, it was incomparably bitter in his mouth, but he still swallowed it down. He felt that this wedding hall was very noisy, making him want to leave, but he couldn't bear to leave because he knew that she was still in the palace. If he left, he would be further and further away from her. There was a faint hope in his heart that he hoped to see her again. Even if it was just seeing the corner of her clothes, it would be good. When Chu Xiaoyang smashed the wine jar with a quang dang sound, he suddenly woke up. He suddenly realized that if he could recognize her, then his third brother had known her for a long time. So how could his third brother not recognize her? Not to mention that his third brother was bringing her blood-related little sister Chun by Yun with him. He only had a single thought in his mind at that time. No matter what, he couldn't let his third brother destroy her marriage and enter her nuptial chambers. He definitely couldn't let anyone disturb her. Third brother, do you really want to personally verify it in the nuptial chambers? Chu Xiaobai took a deep breath and said, Of course, I don't need to verify it to know that she is Ning Er. I want to take her away. She is my person. Chu Xiao Yang gritted his teeth, and his joints began to crack. But third brother, she is no longer your princess. You have no relationship with her anymore. From that day onwards, you will be married and have nothing to do with each other. Even if she really is Ning Er, you do not have the qualifications to take her away because she is free. She can marry whoever she wants. So what right do you have to take her away? Like a bucket of ice water had been poured over his head. Chu Xiao Yang was stunned by this question. He could not answer at all. That's right. What qualifications did he have to take her away? She was no longer his princess. He had already been divorced by her. But was he going to let her be snatched away in front of him like this? Thinking of her wearing a red wedding dress and lying on another person's bed, looking as charming as a begonia flower, waiting for that man to pick her up, he was filled with jealousy. He was so angry that he wanted to kill someone. But they lied to me. They lied to everyone. Chu Xiao Yang, am not easy to bully. They played with me like a fool. I'm not willing. Chu Xiao Yang forcefully pushed Chu Xiaobai away and charged into the harem. Third brother, what are you doing? The back palace cannot be summoned and outsiders cannot enter. Chu Xiaobai shot out in front of him. This king doesn't care. Chu Xiaobai, if you're still my blood-related little brother, if your blood is the same as mine, then move aside from me and don't block this king. Otherwise, this king wouldn't have a little brother like you. Chu Xiao Yang coldly said. Your little brother can't let you keep making mistakes. Third brother, wake up. You already have Chun Bai Yun, and she has your child in her stomach. So why are you still not satisfied? Why do you still pursue what you can't get? Is it not enough for you to hurt Ning Er time and time again? Even if she was really Ning Er, this was her choice. If you really love her, what you should do is to fulfill her wish, not continue to harm her and make her suffer. Chapter 9:14. His words came from the bottom of his heart, but Chu Xiao Yang could not hear a single word. He had already lost all reason from his jealousy. Seeing Chu Xiaobai still blocking in front of him, Chu Xiao Yang raised his right palm and coldly said, If you don't move, I'll kill you with a single palm. Third brother, if you can do it, then just kill me. This little brother will not let you go today. Chu Xiaobai straightened his chest. Very good. Chu Xiao Yang did not say anything. With a hoo sound, he sent a palm at Chu Xiaobai's chest. Pooh! That palm hit Chu Xiaobai's chest. He did not dodge at all and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face instantly turned pale white. I only used 30% of my strength. If you don't move, I'll use 100% of my strength with my next palm, and your bones will break. Chu Xiao Yang gave a cold snort. I won't move. Third brother, just hit me. Chu Xiaobai still shook his head. Chu Xiao Yang stared at him. Xiaobai, are you stupid? I'm not trying to harm her. I'm trying to steal her back from that man. She's not anyone to you. Is it worth it for you to die for her? I don't know what is worth it and what is not worth it. I only know that I can't let you do anything wrong and make you regret it for the rest of your life. Chu Xiaobai felt a pain in his chest, and he spat out another mouthful of blood. Although that palm did not injure his vital points, it did injure his lungs, making him suffer quite a bit of internal injuries. Third brother, I'm doing this for you. It doesn't matter if she is Ning Er or not. You can't go. If she really is Ning Er and you steal her back, she will hate you for the rest of her life. If she isn't Ning Er, how could the emperor let you off? So third brother, wake up. You really can't go. You've already lost her once. Do you want to lose her a second time? Chu Xiaobai tried his best to wake him up. But Chu Xiao Yang's heart was filled with anger and jealousy. He did not want to listen to Chu Xiaobai's words at all. All right, if you don't move, then I'll kill you first. Chu Xiaoyang did not say anything. He used all his strength and sent a palm strike at Chu Xiaobai's chest. Before this palm even arrived, the wind of the palm had already made it hard for Chu Xiaobai to breathe. He knew that his third brother was truly filled with killing intent this time, and he could not wake him. Since it was like this, he wouldn't just sit here and do nothing. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly moved. How could he think that Chu Xiaochu would have his of Yang? Xiaobai of his of his of Chu Chu of Xiao of his. Chu Xiaobai, you bastard, let me go. He was filled with rage as he stared at Chu Xiaobai, wishing he could dig 2 holes in his opponent's face. Chu Xiaobai carried Chu Xiaoyang on his back and returned to the wedding hall. He apologized to Empress Dowager Zhou, saying that his third brother was drunk, so he had to send his third brother back to his palace to rest. Chu Xiaobai carried Chu Xiaoyang on his back and returned to the wedding hall. He apologized to Empress Dowager Zhou, saying that his third brother was drunk, so he had to send his third brother back to his palace to rest. Empress Dowager Zhou naturally agreed. The ministers could not see Chu Xiaoyang make a fool of himself, so they were a bit disappointed. However, they quickly threw this matter to the side and continued to drink and enjoy themselves. Chapter 9:15. Princess, don't you like drinking wine the most? I usually advise you to drink less, but today is the Emperor's joyous day, and this wedding wine is hard to come by, so why aren't you drinking a single mouthful? How about Ting Xian drink a few cups with you? The others did not notice the eldest princess acting strange, but Yi Ting Xian was constantly paying attention to the eldest princess. He drank a few cups of wine with the ministers beside him, but when he turned around, he found that the eldest princess' wine cup was still full, not a single drop missing. He revealed a faint smile, already guessing the reason. He picked up the wine cup and personally brought it to the eldest princess' lips. The eldest princess stared at him and angrily said, "This princess won't drink. I'm already full from anger. How can I drink this wine?" Yi Ting Xian said with a smile, "Princess, the emperor is getting married. You should be happy for the emperor as a younger sister. So why are you angry?" "Humph, you're asking the obvious. You clearly know why this princess is angry." The eldest princess looked at Yi Ting Xian's smiling face and couldn't help but be angry. "I understand. The eldest princess is blaming me for drinking with others and not drinking with the princess, right? How about this? I'll risk my life to accompany the princess, and we won't leave until we're drunk. How about it?" Yi Ting Xian seemed to be in a very good mood. His picturesque face had a smile the entire time, and his eyes were strangely bright. The eldest princess was filled with anger as she suddenly slapped the table and shouted, "I think your skin is itchy. You're asking for a beating." Her slaps startled the people around her, and they all turned to look at her. Yi Ting Xian quickly said with a smile, "The eldest princess is unhappy. She's blaming me for only drinking with you and not accompanying her." Everyone was relieved. They smiled and said that, "Husband, you shouldn't drink a few more cups with the eldest princess before turning their attention away." They all saw the eldest princess' face that was as black as the bottom of a pot, and everyone knew that the eldest princess had a fiery temper. Once her temper flared up, it was enough to take someone's life. Only husband, Yi, could control her. They didn't have the ability to provoke the eldest princess. "Princess, are you angry at the emperor?" Yi Ting Xian saw that everyone was no longer looking at them, and he suddenly moved closer to the eldest princess, whispering into her ear. "This princess is angry at him." Angry at him? He is actually being so intimate with his bride in front of everyone. He has only known her for 3 days, but his heart is already aching for her, protecting her, and holding her in such an affectionate manner. He's too heartless. He completely forgot about Nanger. Once he has a new person, he forgets about the old. You men are all trash. The more the eldest princess spoke, the angrier she became. She was so angry that tears came out. Her throat was choked up, and she used the back of her hand to wipe her tears, but the more she wiped, the more tears came out. When she thought of Chun Ning, her heart was filled with an indescribable pain. She felt that Chen Ning was not worth it, and she was even angrier at her royal brother's heartlessness. The people on the side only heard her scolding's husband Yi and also loudly scolding, "Yi, you men aren't good alt." They couldn't help but shrink their necks and leave the banquet to find other ministers to drink with. They were afraid that if they were too late, they would be targeted by the eldest princess and be cursed at. We're all men, teet teet. Yi Tingxian saw the eldest princess crying like a child, feeling pain and finding it funny. He didn't care that this was in front of everyone as he reached out to hug her, helping her wipe her tears. Chapter 9:16. The eldest princess pushed him away and angrily glared at him. Her chest rose up and down like an angry little beast. "I don't want to listen to a single word you men say. I don't believe a single word. Ning believed my royal brother's sweet words, and that's why she foolishly married to the East Qin country where rabbits don't even shit, marrying that East Qin crown prince who is like a bull. But what about my royal brother? He instantly forgot about Ning and betrayed his promise. He is now married to a new person and is currently holding his new lover in a sweet and loving manner. He has let down Ning. Shoo, princess, can you not mention the two words Ning Do you want to make a big deal out of this matter? The Empress Dowager is already looking over at you." Yi Tingxian anxiously wanted to cover the eldest princess' mouth, but the eldest princess easily dodged him. She angrily said, "I want to make this known to everyone. I want to tell everyone and let everyone judge this and see if the emperor is right or wrong." "Princess." Yi Tingxian stomped his foot. He knew that the eldest princess did not fear anything in the heavens or earth. She really would tell everyone about the emperor and Chun Ning's matter. In a moment of desperation, he suddenly leaned over, and before the eldest princess could say anything, he used his lips to block her lips. In the wedding hall, the red candles lit up and the guests filled the hall with laughter. The eldest princess suddenly felt a warm and soft thing press against her lips. Her eyes opened wide, and she saw Yi Tingxian's handsome face in front of her. His white as jade face was completely red, and his long eyelashes trembled. His dark and bright eyes looked at her without blinking. His eyes were filled with shyness, panic, and embarrassment. Yi Tingxian really had no other way, so he thought of this method that was not a method. He had never kissed a girl before, so he just tightly pressed his lips against hers, not letting her speak. He did not know anything else. Even like this, the strange feeling from his lips made his face turn red and his heart beat faster. Especially in this situation where everyone was watching, he felt like everyone's eyes were focused on him and the eldest princess. He was embarrassed, but he did not dare let go of the eldest princess. If he did not let go of the eldest princess, naturally the eldest princess would not push him away. This was the first time she had been kissed by a man. Although it was just lips against lips, it already made her heart ripple. The anger and grievance in her chest had already been thrown to the highest heavens. She was pleasantly surprised, wishing that Yi Tingxian would keep kissing her like this and never let go. The laughter in the wedding hall became silent. Everyone's eyes fell on the two of them. Many of the officials' mouths were wide open, so wide that a 4-happiness meatball could fit inside. When some of the ministers saw the scene in front of them, they thought that their eyes were blurred from old age and even went forward to take a closer look. When they discovered that it was not an illusion, their old faces became shockingly hot and they hurriedly retreated. Su Jin had been focused on helping Empress Dowager Zhou prepare the food, but she suddenly found that the noisy wedding hall had become so quiet that a pin drop could be heard. She felt this was strange and looked up. Her face instantly turned red from embarrassment, and she quickly looked away, but there was a smile on her lips, secretly feeling happy for the two of them. Chapter 9:17. The eldest princess marriage was the matter that Empress Dowager Zhou was most worried about. She knew that her daughter's personality was like a man, and there were very few men that could enter her eyes. However, No one would have thought that the highly skilled and fiery eldest princess would fall for the cold, as icy Yi Ting Xian who didn't know martial arts. One of them was like fire, while the other was like ice. They were completely out of place. The eldest princess had pestered Yi Ting Xian before, but Yi Ting Xian did not move at all. Empress Dowager Zhou saw all of this, and although she loved her daughter, she didn't try to match them because in her eyes, Yi Ting Xian was not a good match for her daughter. It wasn't that Empress Dowager Zhou looked down on Yi Ting Xian's white robe. Of course she knew that Yi Ting Xian was talented. She was just worried that Yi Ting Xian was a weak scholar, and the eldest princess had a strong personality and good martial arts. Even if they were married, the eldest princess would bully her husband. It was fine if Yi Ting Xian was a commoner's son, but he was Marquis Xian Wu's most beloved second son. If her daughter bullied his son, she wouldn't be able to explain it to Marquis Xian Wu. She thought that the eldest princess would not have any feelings for Yi Ting Xian and would give up if she couldn't catch up. She never thought that the eldest princess would pester Yi Ting Xian for 3 years, and she even had the intention to die. However, Yi Ting Xian still avoided the eldest princess like a snake, which made Empress Dowager Zhou feel anxious. Her daughter was growing up every day, and if she delayed it any longer, she would become an old lady that couldn't be married off. Forget it, since Yi Ting Xian was chosen by her. Then as her mother, she would follow her daughter's wishes. So Empress Dowager Zhou called Yi Ting Xian into the palace and had a long and honest talk with him. She wanted to find out what his intentions were for her daughter, but she was disappointed in this long talk. She found that Yi Ting Xian had no intentions towards the eldest princess. Since it was like this, of course, she had to find a better husband for her daughter. Who would have thought that things would always be out of her expectations? It was like in just one night, Yi Ting Xian's attitude changed. He immediately accepted the eldest princess and accepted the emperor's marriage, setting the wedding date to 3 months later. This sudden change caught Empress Dowager Zhou off guard, and she found it hard to believe. Not long ago, Yi Ting Xian's attitude was still cold and strong. He was suddenly willing to marry the eldest princess. The reason for this was thought-provoking. Although the eldest princess and Yi Ting Xian were already engaged, Empress Dowager Zhou's daughter's heart was still in the air. She was silently watching Yi Ting Xian, wanting to see what this brat was selling and whether or not he was deceiving her daughter. In front of everyone, Yi Ting Xian's performance could not be compared to him. Although he was not an official in the court, he was deeply trusted by the emperor. He could wear a white robe to listen to politics, and he could speak freely in court. He was talented and was proficient in the languages of the 4 countries. He was well-read and had a great understanding of West Chu's geography and people. Even the most knowledgeable scholar of the Hamlin Academy could not compare to him in knowledge. And he was born with such a handsome face. He was like a handsome young man who had walked out of a painting. He was always elegant and radiant. Chapter 9:18. But the more it was like this, the more Empress Dowager Zhou was worried. It had to be known that no one was perfect. Even her favorite son, Mo Chuan, had flaws that couldn't be ignored. But Yi Ting Xian, he was perfect like a piece of porcelain, without a single flaw to be found. How could there be a person that was perfect to this degree in this world? Empress Dowager Zhou didn't believe it, especially Yi Ting Xian's attitude towards the eldest princess. It was always that lukewarm, always distant. He was always by the eldest princess' side, but Empress Dowager Zhou rarely saw him being affectionate towards the eldest princess. Although young people should stop being affectionate, they were already engaged, so even if they held hands or hugged each other, it would be a normal action. Empress Dowager Zhou was worried that they wouldn't be able to control themselves before they were married, but she found that her worries were unnecessary. That Yi Ting Xian was a person made of stone, like he wouldn't be moved at all. The eldest princess had an even more carefree personality. She thought that when a man and woman became husband and wife, they would be together forever, so she already considered Yi Ting Xian as her husband. She didn't know that there was a deeper meaning to becoming husband and wife. Seeing Yi Ting Xian in the wedding hall under everyone's eyes, being this intimate with her daughter, It was clear that he was deeply in love with the eldest princess. This made Empress Dowager Zhou sigh with emotion and joy. The large stone hanging in her heart finally fell down. AI, this widow seems to have drunk too much wine. Su Jin, help this widow to rest. If this widow keeps drinking, this widow will be drunk. Empress Dowager Zhou held Su Jin's hand as she stood up. She smiled as she looked at the two people kissing each other. Empress Dowager, it's not the wine that intoxicates you, but the wine that intoxicates you. Su Jin pursed her lips into a smile and said quietly. Su Jin was shocked and quickly said, Empress Dowager, this servant is old. Something that young people like to do, this servant cannot accept. Su Jin pursed her lips into a smile and said in a soft voice. Su Jin was shocked and quickly said, Empress Dowager, this servant is old. Something that young people like to do, this servant cannot accept. Old? Empress Dowager Zhou looked down and saw the white hair on Su Jin's temples. She suddenly gave a sigh. That's right, you have white hair. It was this widow who wasted your youth, letting you stay by this widow's side. After all these years, do you blame this widow? She said in a low voice. Was the Empress Dowager saying, this servant isn't willing to marry. This servant is willing to stay with the Dowager. Su Jin said in a fearful voice. Empress Dowager Zhou nodded. She felt that she had spoken a bit too much today. Perhaps she was really drunk. Only when drunk would she speak the truth. Empress Dowager Su Jin Empress said. The minister, she, Dowager, the one say and said. Ting this, the ministers said, one said, one. Not long after, there was only the eldest princess and Yi Tingxian left in a large wedding hall. Yi Tingxian's face turned red as he moved his lips away from the eldest princess' lips. Just as he took a breath, the eldest princess' arms wrapped around his neck and her large eyes looked at him without letting him go. Tingxian, I want you to kiss me like before. Her lips were red from his kiss, and her large eyes were watery. Chapter 919. Could it be that the bride really is Ning? The eldest princess' eyes lit up with a strange glow. It's completely true, Yi Tingxian said with a faint smile. Tingxian, since you saw through it, why didn't you tell me earlier? You made me angry, and I almost went to their nuptial chambers. It's a good thing I didn't go. Otherwise, Ning, it would hate me to death. The eldest princess angrily glared at Yi Tingxian. Yi Tingxian shrugged his shoulders. I always wanted to tell you, but you didn't give me a chance and wanted everyone to know about it. What else do you want me to do? He thought of his helpless actions just now, and his face turned red again. The eldest princess, however, was grinning from ear to ear. Suddenly, she yelled, This is bad. She clapped her hands and ran to the back of the palace. Eldest princess, what are you going to do now? Yi Tingxian was shocked and quickly chased after her. I made a big mistake. Damn, I hope they haven't opened the present I gave them yet. The eldest princess didn't care about Yi Tingxian. She used her qinggong and ran towards the nuptial chambers as fast as she could. Her heart kept beating in her chest, almost jumping out her chest. There was only one thought in her mind. She had to stop them before they opened the present. She had to. Imo Chuan carried Chen Ning and ran like he was flying, heading straight for the bridal chamber. Their bridal chamber was not Imo Chuan's original palace. Rather, it was a new palace. The sign at the front of the palace was personally written by Imo Chuan. It was called Guan Yu Palace. It was named after the Guan Yu dove, a gentle and virtuous girl, a gentleman's desire. The Guan Yu Palace was not close to the wedding hall. There was already a sedan prepared outside the wedding hall, and the eunuchs were already waiting on the side. But after Imo Chuan carried Chen Ning out, he ignored them. This made the eunuchs look at each other in blank dismay, not knowing what to do. No one would have thought that the emperor would not use a sedan and would directly carry his bride to the nuptial chambers. Just how tired was this trip? Imo Chuan did not feel tired at all. On the road, it was like he was walking in the clouds, feeling as light as a feather. A smile came from the bottom of his heart, and he did not know how much strength he used to make his face look normal. During the entire wedding, he did not say a single word because he did not dare speak. He was afraid that he would not be able to control the joy in his heart and let others see through him. Only when he carried her on the palace road, leading to the bridal chamber, did he reveal a trace of joy from the corner of his eyes. If it wasn't it, he, Chening Yuchun, the princess, Xiao Chun, Xiao, 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 Xiao. The eunuchs and the maids, Xiao, 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 Xiao. The eunuchs and palace maids in the room were all startled. They did not expect the emperor to suddenly come in like this without a report. They hurriedly knelt down and kowtowed. "Your Majesty, Your Highness." They all recognized the girl in the emperor's arms. She was wearing the bride's clothes, so she was without a doubt the empress that had just gone through the wedding ceremony with the emperor. Hearing the words "empress," Mo Chuan couldn't help being a bit surprised. He looked at the bride in his arms and revealed a faint smile on his handsome face. "You've all worked hard. You can all leave. Everyone can go get 20 silver coins," he said with a faint smile. Chapter 920. Your Majesty, do you need us to help the Empress take a bath? Nanny Shi, who was dressed in red and green, asked carefully. "No need. All of you leave." Mo Chuan waited for everyone to leave the room before gently putting Chen Ning down. He turned around and closed the door. Turning around, he looked at the slender girl in the room without blinking. This was the Guan Yu Palace's bedroom. It wasn't magnificent, but it was elegant and comfortable. The golden brick floor was covered in a thick carpet, and there were large red drapes on both sides of the bed. There was a pair of lotus candlesticks in front of the bed. There were 2 dragon and phoenix candles burning high up, filling the room with a joyous atmosphere. Mo Chuan held his breath and silently looked at her. For a moment, it was like he was in a dream. Chen Ning waited for a while, but she didn't hear Mo Chuan speak. The room was silent, like there was no one there at all. She uneasily moved her feet. Her feet were soft, like she was stepping on thick clouds. Her head was covered with a red veil, so she couldn't see where she was. She could only smell a faint fragrance coming from her nose. Mo Chuan, she softly called out. She wasn't sure if he was still in the room. She didn't hear his reply. He wouldn't have left her in the room and gone out to drink with the guests, right? If it was like this, she could let out a sigh of relief. Mo Chuan, are you there? She tried calling out, but there was still no one who answered her. Chen Ning's face under the red veil revealed a relaxed smile. He really had left. She patted her chest and let out a long sigh of relief. Although this was the moment she dreamed of, when she thought of being alone with him and what would happen next, she couldn't help feeling nervous. Now that he had left, she could steal some time to relax. She couldn't avoid this sooner or later, so it was better if it came later. Chen Ning did not take off the red veil because Su Jin had told her that Mo Chuan had to personally take it off for her. However, with this thick red veil covering her, she felt a bit stuffy. She could see a thick and soft carpet under her feet from under the red veil. On a whim, she took off her shoes and walked over the soft carpet with her snow-white feet. The long and soft fur under her feet was soft and comfortable. "Is it fun?" Suddenly a low and sweet voice came from above her head. At the same time, she saw a pair of boots beside her feet from under the red veil. It was a brand new, bright yellow official boots embroidered with dragon patterns. Mo Chuan, why haven't you left? She was startled, and then her body flew into the air. She was carried by him again. She instinctively reached out to hold the back of his neck and let out a soft cry of "Ah, this is our bridal room. Where do you want me to go?" Mo Chuan's soft voice sounded in her ears. Even though there was a thick red scarf between them, the heat from his breath still entered her ears and made her shiver all over. She shrunk her neck, but pressed herself against his chest. She could feel the heat from his body passing through his clothes to her face, making her face burn up. "You are clearly in you. Chapter 921. Mo Chuan said with a serious face, "I wanted to see what you would do when you were alone, but I never thought that you would be so happy." "What? Did you think that you would be this happy when I wasn't here? Did you forget what date is today and where this place is?" Chen Ning giggled. Sir Emperor, please calm your anger. This minister's concubine has misspoken. I ask the Emperor for forgiveness. Her clear laughter instantly dissolved the tension and helplessness between the two of them. Not only was she nervous, even Imo Chuan was nervous, but he did not want her to see his nervousness. He smiled as he put her down. Looking at her snow-white feet, his heart skipped a beat. He squatted down and held one of her feet. It's so itchy. Imo Chuan, what are you doing? She became nervous again. She wanted to pull her foot back, but he held it tightly. What do you think I'm doing, Un? Imo Chuan looked up and revealed an evil smile at her. His smile made her face turn red again, but she saw him pick up the shoe and put it on for her. Then he stood up and pulled her to the sandalwood table on the side. There were all kinds of fruits, candied fruits, desserts, and 2 glasses of bright red wine on the table. This was the cross-cup wine that Nanny she had prepared for them. Ninger, let's have a cross-cup wine. Imo Chuan did not like crowds, so he drove everyone out. Even Nanny she was not allowed to stay. However, he still remembered the wedding procedure, not forgetting a single thing. Chen Ning's face turned red again. She suddenly remembered how he fed her cross-cup wine in the farmer's house last time. He wouldn't do the same thing this time, right? Imo Chuan obediently held her arm this time and drank the wine in the cup. The wine was fragrant and sweet, directly entering her heart. After drinking the cross-cup wine, he pressed her down on the chair. She looked at him suspiciously, not knowing what trick he wanted to play. Imo Chuan did not play any tricks. He picked up the scale on the table and slowly lifted her veil. The moment he lifted the veil, his hands slightly trembled from excitement, and his breathing stopped. He was excited and nervous as he looked at her without blinking. Chen Ning felt her eyes light up as the red cloth in front of her was taken off. She looked up and saw a pair of eyes that were as deep as wine. He was staring at her in a daze, just like a dumb goose. She did not know why she smiled. Those eyes that were brighter than spring water flowed, and there were faint dimples on her cheeks. With this smile, the entire room became warm and bright. Imo Chuan looked at her smile without blinking, and he couldn't help smiling as well. The two of them looked at each other and smiled, feeling like they were in a dream. After the crossing of cups of wine and the veil was removed, all that was left was to consummate their marriage. But it was still early. Although there were 2 dragon and phoenix wedding candles lit in the room and they could burn until the next day, it was still daytime. Going to the bridal room in broad daylight, it didn't seem appropriate. According to a normal wedding, it was time for the groom to go out to entertain the guests, and the bride's room would be the most lively. However, Imo Chuan was the emperor, so no one could force him to go out to entertain the guests. He didn't like people making a ruckus, so no one dared to enter his bridal room. Imo Chuan, aren't you going out to drink with your ministers? Chen Ning remembered the rules were like this. Chapter 922. Chen Ning's face turned red, and she looked down. Her long eyelashes blinked as she muttered in her heart. He clearly knew that her alcohol tolerance wasn't good, but he still wanted to drink with her. Was he trying to get her drunk? Actually, he didn't need to get her drunk at all. During today's wedding, she was completely drunk, just like she had drunk a lot of wine. Imo Chuan saw that the usually eloquent Chen Ning seemed like a different person today, being shy and shy. He knew that she was even more nervous than him, so he couldn't help finding it funny. This girl that wasn't afraid of anything was finally nervous and afraid. The last time he had married her at the farmer's house, she had given him a fright. She seemed like she knew everything and knew everything. It made him feel helpless, and he didn't know what to do with her. Now, this was how a newlywed should look like. But no matter what she was like, he liked her. He poured 2 cups of wine and gave one to her. He looked at her with a smile. This is a sweet fruit wine. It won't make you drunk. You can drink a few more cups. She was feeling dry from nervousness, so she drank the wine cup in one gulp. It was sweet and cold, with a strong fruity fragrance. It was very delicious. She felt that the cup was too small, so she poured the wine into the teacup and drank it in one gulp. She felt that the more she drank, the better it tasted, so she poured a 3rd cup. You're not allowed to drink anymore. You'll get drunk. Imo Chuan suddenly placed his hand on the back of her hand and took the teacup from her hand. She looked up at him with beautiful eyes and a drunken look. You said that this wine won't make you drunk. Stingy. I only drank 2 cups, and you're already reluctant? He smiled as he pinched her nose. How would I know that you would drink like this? Are you trying to get yourself drunk and then fall asleep? I won't allow it. Tonight is our wedding night. I don't want to go to bed with a drunk bride. Who wants to go to bed with you? Chen Ning's face turned red again. Hearing the word go to bed, her thoughts immediately went astray. Actually, as an ancient person, he was purely talking about going to bed, but she couldn't help thinking about it. Mo Chuan smiled. He liked seeing her blush, so he deliberately teased her. It's fine if we don't go to bed. How about we sleep on the carpet? I can see that you really like this carpet. He thought of her walking barefoot on the carpet, looking very happy, and his heart skipped a beat. Mo Chuan, if you keep speaking nonsense, I won't talk to you anymore, she angrily said. He smiled as he looked at her embarrassed and annoyed face. He really wanted to hold her in his arms and kiss her, but he didn't dare, because he knew that as long as he was near her, he would not be able to control himself. Even though he was just talking to her and sitting face to face, he had already started to let his imagination run wild. He couldn't help looking out the window, wondering why the sky wasn't dark yet. Although he had made it clear that he didn't want anyone to disturb him in the bridal chamber, there were always exceptions. His heart was still hanging in the air. As long as they hadn't become husband and wife, he was always worried that someone would suddenly barge in and snatch her away. He wanted her right away. But before he got married, the nanny in the palace who taught him the etiquette of the bridal chamber repeatedly warned him that the ceremony of husband and wife must be done after dark. Doing this kind of thing in broad daylight was immoral and would be ridiculed by others. Chapter 923. Ninger, let's play riddles, all right? Mo Chuan took a deep breath and then let it out. He controlled the thoughts in his head and knew that he had to shift his attention. If he kept looking at her like this, he wouldn't be able to control himself. Guess riddles? All right, how we guess? What riddles? Her eyes turned, and it was like she had guessed his thoughts. She also let out a sigh of relief. Come with me. Mo Chuan smiled as he pulled her hand and walked to a corner of the palace. There were many beautifully carved boxes there, with large and small ones. What is this? Chen Ning asked in a curious voice. These are the gifts the ministers have given us. Let's not look at the gift list and guess what's in these boxes. How about it? There's a prize for guessing correctly and a punishment for guessing incorrectly. He said with a smile, Guessing from a box? This is very hard. I can't guess it. She spat out her tongue with a smile, but her eyes revealed an eager look. If you can't guess it, then accept your punishment. Your punishment is to help me wash my back in a bit, he said with a mischievous smile. Chen Ning stared at him. Then if you lose, I don't want you to help me bathe. In your dreams. Her face couldn't help turning red. All right, then I'll help you take off your clothes as punishment, all right? He deliberately teased her. Mo Chuan. She stomped her foot. He was also a bit embarrassed. This kind of flirtatious words, he had never said them in his life, but he didn't know why he couldn't help blurting them out today. Perhaps it was because he was about to consummate his marriage with her, but his heart was filled with excitement. His mind was filled with that matter. Mo Chuan focused his mind and picked up the highest gift box, taking a look at it. I'll guess first. If I guess wrong, I'll punish you with a cup of wine, and if I guess right, I'll punish you with wine. How about this? She nodded with a smile and looked over at the box. All right, it's like this. This box is from the Empress Dowager. What kind of gift will the Empress Dowager give us? Mo Chuan tested the weight of the box. The box wasn't much bigger than a palm, and it was very delicate. Just looking at the box, it could be imagined that the item inside would be even more valuable. But this box wasn't heavy at all. He guessed, I'm guessing it's jewelry. If it's not a hairpin, then it's a pearl hairpin. I think you're guessing wrong. Why would the Empress Dowager give us such a normal thing? I don't believe it. She shook her head with a smile. Mo Chuan smiled without saying a word. He opened the gift box and saw a golden mandarin duck hairpin placed on top of the purple-red cloth. Each bead was the size of a pinky, but the beads were slightly yellow, releasing a soft glow. Under the candlelight, it was very beautiful. Such a beautiful pearl hairpin. Chen Ning did not like jewelry, but when she saw this work of art, she couldn't help praising it. I'm not as beautiful as you. Mo Chuan picked up the hairpin and inserted it into her hair. The pearls made a clear and melodious sound as they collided with each other. The light from the pearls made her pretty face look even more beautiful and alluring. Chen Ning stroked the hairpin and revealed a smile. All right, you've guessed it. I've lost, so I'll have to drink as punishment. Chapter 924. Mo Chuan smiled as he scratched her nose. He winked at her. You're willing to bet and you're willing to lose. I'll guess the next one. Chen Ning casually picked up a gift box. Looking at the words on the cover, she gave an ah sound and the smile on her face disappeared. She held the gift box for a long time without saying a word. Seeing her expression, Mo Chuan could guess a bit. He looked at the gift box and thought that it really was a gift from Xiao Bai. Only what did he send? If you can't guess it, will you accept your punishment? I can't guess it. I accept my punishment. Chen Ning drank another cup of wine and then gave a faint sigh. She could guess other people's thoughts, but she couldn't guess Chu Xiaobai's thoughts. The last scene of Chu Xiaobai flashed in her mind. He was holding Chu Xiaoyang, who had fallen off the carriage, and looking up at her, not even blinking for a second. Although she did not look at him directly at that time, his gaze was unforgettable. Xiaobai, I lied to you. If you knew the truth, would you still treat me like before? Don't you know that Mo Chuan's bride today is me? In this box, what kind of gift did you give me? Mo Chuan took the gift box from her hands and slowly opened it. When the box was opened, there was a dazzling light that shocked the two of them. They saw that there was a beautifully carved glass mirror in the box. The dazzling light was the reflection of the candle light from the mirror. Xiao Bai really is thoughtful, actually finding this kind of rare treasure. This is a mirror carved from glass. It really is a rare item. The rarest thing is that it can clearly reflect a person's image. Even the best bronze mirror in our palace cannot compare to it. Mo Chuan took out the glass mirror and praised it. He placed it in front of Chen Ning and said with a smile, "Look at this gift. Isn't it your favorite?" She did not smile and just looked at the glass mirror in a daze. She reached out to take it, and her slender fingers stroked the smooth surface of the mirror, silently nodding. She recognized this mirror. It was the prize she had won at the Lantern Riddles that day. This Liuli glass mirror was comparable to modern craftsmanship. She loved it so much that she could not put it down. But after she was taken away by Namu Kuo, this mirror was lost. She never thought that Chu Xiaobai would find it and give it back to her. She held this glass mirror, and her heart was filled with mixed feelings, not knowing what she was feeling. Could it be that Chu Xiaobai already guessed that she was the bride? So he used this kind of twisted method to return the mirror to its owner? Chen Ning shook her head. She really could not guess it. Ning, you don't like this gift? Mo Chuan stared at her, not ignoring any expression on her face. He could see that she was a bit sad and sighing. This mirror definitely had a story between her and Chu Xiaobai. Xiao xiao shouted to xiao 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 xiao. Xiao 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 chun xiao xiao. Xiao! Chen Ning looked up at him, and her eyes were filled with tears. She was touched by Chu Xiaobai's intentions, but she could not repay him in this life. She gently put the mirror aside and went to get another gift box. Chapter 925. Mo Chuan nodded with a smile. He looked at the box, and the smile on his face couldn't help becoming wider. Ning-er, I'm afraid you're going to lose again. I'm afraid you can't avoid these 2 cups of wine. He said with a smile. I haven't even guessed yet. How do you know I'll lose? Ah, this is the eldest princess gift. Chen Ning looked at it. The bold and unrestrained handwriting on the box was like a man's. It was written by the eldest princess herself. The eldest princess' thoughts were as hard to guess as Chu Xiaobai's. She really was going to lose. Who knew what kind of gift the eldest princess would give? Chen Ning picked up the box and suddenly felt her wrists sink. She quickly used strength to hold it, so she didn't drop the box. This box didn't look too big, being around a square foot, but it was very heavy. She shook it, but there was no sound coming from the box at all. It was clear that the box was filled to the brim with this gift, which made her even more curious. Mo Chuan, you're right. I can't guess it. She gave a dejected sigh. Then just randomly guess. The eldest princess thoughts, even I can't guess it as a royal brother, so who knows what that girl will give. If you guess wrong, I'll drink these 2 cups of wine for you. Mo Chuan smiled as he rubbed her head, comforting her. He didn't want to make her drunk. He would rather be the one drunk. All right, then I'll randomly guess. If I'm wrong, you'll drink for me. She tilted her head and rolled her eyes. With a smile, she said, then I'll guess that it must be the eldest princess' treasured sword that never leaves her body. That's not right. The sword is a weapon. How could the eldest princess use it as a gift? Mo Chuan shook his head. Won't we know once we open it? Chen Ning placed the box on the table with a smile. The box was just too heavy, and her wrist was already numb from holding it for a while. She reached out to remove the seal on the box and placed her hand on the lid, preparing to open it. Asterisk. Eldest princess, what gift did you give the emperor? Yi Tingxian closely followed behind the eldest princess, but he was quickly thrown off by the eldest princess. But the eldest princess's footsteps became slower and slower until she finally stopped moving. Yi Tingxian caught up while panting, grabbing the eldest princess' shoulder. The eldest princess slowly looked up, and her eyes revealed a look of fear and regret. Tingxian, I. She forcefully bit her lips. Say it. What trouble have you caused? Yi Tingxian looked much calmer than the eldest princess. His voice had a comforting power that made the eldest princess flatten her lips, wanting to cry even more. Tingxian, I don't dare go. Help me stop them, and don't let them open the gifts. She was like a child who had done something wrong as she pulled on Tingxian's sleeves. This wasn't like the eldest princess that Yi Tingxian knew, who was stronger than men. Yi Tingxian took a deep breath. Tell me, what gift did you prepare? It's. The eldest princess stuttered and finally said, it's a snake, a very, very poisonous snake. Chapter 9:26. The eldest princess felt even more guilty. She lowered her head and said, of course I know royal brother is afraid of snakes. I just can't stand his fickleness, so I wanted to scare him a bit. Don't be in a rush to be angry. I just wanted to scare him a bit. I sent people to remove the fangs from that snake. So, it isn't poisonous and won't bite anyone. I didn't know that the bride he wanted to marry was Ning Er. If I knew, I wouldn't have done this. Yi Tingxian's heart that was in his throat fell back into his stomach. He stared at the eldest princess. Even if it's a snake with its fangs removed, it's still not enough. If the emperor is scared, how can he consummate his marriage? He grabbed the eldest princess' wrist. Come with me to the bridal chamber right now and apologize to the emperor and empress. I hope they haven't opened your gift yet, and we can stop them in time. Asterisk when Chun Ning's finger touched the lid, before she could even open it, the lid suddenly popped up, scaring her. Then, a black, triangular-shaped object covered in scales poked out of the gift box. Its bean-like eyes flashed with a cold light, and its long tongue hissed. It was actually a giant white snake with a black base. The snake's head was triangular, and it was clearly poisonous. Ninger, be careful. Mo Chuan's pupils suddenly shrank. The moment he saw that poisonous snake, his breathing stopped and his hands turned numb. In this world, he wasn't afraid of anything, but he was afraid of a single animal. That was snakes. Seeing this cold and slippery thing, his heart turned cold, but he immediately thought that she was in danger. His face turned as white as paper. Although he was afraid, he grabbed her hand without any hesitation, preparing to pull her far away. Chen Ning gave a gee laugh and dodged his hand. Instead, she went to grab the snake's weak spot. She could see that he was afraid of snakes with a single glance, so she wanted to catch it to scare him. It was a gift from the eldest princess, so how could it be dangerous? This snake looked poisonous, but it must have had its fangs removed. Ninger, quickly let go. This snake is poisonous. Mo Chuan saw her grab the snake and shake it in front of him, causing his heart to shatter in fear. How could she be this bold? She didn't want to live anymore? Mo Chuan, I never thought that you would be afraid of this little worm. All right, I'll immediately throw it away. Don't be afraid." She gave him a charming smile and spoke in a voice like she was coaxing a child. Mo Chuan was so nervous that he began to sweat. Chen Ning giggled as she placed the snake into the box. When she was about to close the box, she suddenly felt her fingertips go numb. Looking down, she saw that the snake was biting her right index finger, causing it to bleed. She couldn't help being stunned. Didn't the snake have its fangs removed? She couldn't help but be stunned. Did this snake have its fangs removed? There was a flash of white light in front of her and blood spurted out. The snake's head and body were separated. The snake's head was still biting Chen Ning's finger, but the snake's body had already fallen to the ground, twisting and turning. In a moment of desperation, Mo Chuan had grabbed the candlestick beside him and swung it, cutting the snake in half. Ning, ting, ning, ning. He saw that the triangular head of the snake was still biting her finger, and its mouth was full of blood. His heart was beating so fast that it almost jumped out his chest. Chapter 9:27. Mo Chuan threw the snake head far away, and his palm was covered in cold sweat. He reached out to look at her injured finger and saw that it had already turned blue and purple. The blood that flowed out had already turned black. "This snake is poisonous," he said with a cold face as his heart turned into a ball. He lowered his head and sucked the poisonous blood from her wound without even thinking about it. When his lips touched the wound on her finger, he felt a burning sensation on his lips. It was like he had been burned, and a small blister appeared on his lips. "Mo Chuan, it's dangerous. Don't suck it. This poison is very strong." Chen Ning forcefully pulled her finger back and placed it behind her back. Mo Chuan was right. This snake was indeed poisonous, and it was a very strong poison. In just a short moment, she felt the entire right side of her body go numb, and it felt like her entire arm wasn't hers anymore. The wound from the snake's bite did not hurt. It just felt a bit numb. But Chen Ning knew that the stronger the snake's poison, the less pain it would feel after biting someone. It could be seen from this that the snake's poison was very strong. When Mo Chuan heard this, his face turned even paler. How could he still care about the danger? The more dangerous it was, the more he had to suck the poison out for her. He grabbed her right hand without saying anything and firmly held it in his palm. Then he moved closer to her wound and sucked the poisonous blood. He spat it out on the ground, sucked it out again, and spat it out again. Only when her blood turned red did he stop sucking it out. His lips and tongue became as hot as fire, like he was holding a piece of hot iron in his mouth. It was already so hot that he couldn't feel it, but he tightly held her, seeing her powerless body lying in his embrace, with her snow-white as jade face covered in a thin layer of black qi. His heart twisted into a ball. "Ninger, how do you feel?" he said in a hoarse voice that was unclear. Chen Ning's body was cold and hot, her heart beating fast and slow. She knew that although Mo Chuan had sucked out most of the poison for her, there was still a small part that entered her body through her blood. This small part of the snake's poison could take her life. She couldn't help regretting her carelessness. Why did she think that the snake was not poisonous? She really did this to herself. Even if she died, it would be her own fault. Only she had implicated Mo Chuan. "You quickly rinse your mouth with tea and spit out the poison. Spit out." She was only worried about Mo Chuan. Her eyes anxiously looked at him as she spoke in a weak voice. Mo Chuan's tears almost came out. She was already in this kind of situation, but she was still thinking about him. Although she didn't say it, he could feel that the body in his arms was sometimes hot and sometimes cold. Her forehead was sweating, and the next moment, she was trembling. Even he felt uncomfortable holding her, so it must be even more uncomfortable for her to be caught in this world of ice and fire. Quickly rinse your mouth," Chen Ning said with difficulty. Even her tongue was beginning to feel numb. She believed that the snake venom would soon invade her whole body. She might not be able to speak or move very soon. "If you die, I won't live either. Why would I care about this little poison?" His eyes were bloodshot as he looked at her. Seeing her lips turn purple, his entire body felt as if it had fallen into an ice cellar, and his entire body began to tremble. Chapter 928. Ninger. Ninger. Mo Chuan's heart stopped beating. He looked at her tightly closed eyes and her hand that fell to the ground. His ears buzzed and his eyes turned black. His trembling hand moved to her nose and found that her breathing had stopped. In an instant, his tears fell in large droplets, dripping onto her pale face. But he didn't feel his tears at all. He only thought in his heart, "She's dead. She's dead." Hugging her motionless, he felt an emptiness in his heart, as if there was nothing left in it. Her bright red wedding dress was as red as blood. It contrasted with her pale face and made her skin look white and flawless. Her eyebrows were black and beautiful. Her long eyelashes drooped down, covering her eyes that were always bright and kind. Her plump lips were covered with a layer of purple, no longer as red as before. She quietly closed her eyes, as if she had fallen asleep. She was like the most beautiful painting in the world, but in his arms, sleeping forever. In the joyous bridal chamber, the 2 dragon and phoenix wedding candles were still burning, but her life had already reached its end. Mo Chuan's eyes were filled with tears, and he could no longer see her face. He suddenly raised his palm and slammed it against the golden brick floor, sending pieces of stone flying. He slammed his palm again and again, turning the golden bricks into dust, and his palm was covered in blood. But he didn't feel any pain at all, because there was a place that was thousands, tens of thousands of times more painful than his palm. Why? Why didn't he make a move earlier? Why was he afraid of that poisonous snake? Why didn't he stop her in time? Why? Why? He hated himself so much that he wanted to dig out his heart and put it in front of her to repent. He wanted to cry out loud, but his throat seemed to be choked, and he couldn't cry out. Big drops of tears fell down his face. Ninger. All of a sudden, he let out a heart-wrenching cry, like the angry roar of a beast that had lost its lover. That voice passed through the roof and spread far away. It made the people guarding the Guan Osprey Palace tremble, and they couldn't help revealing looks of fear on their faces. Xiaoxi's body trembled. He could tell that this was the emperor's cry, and it was filled with anger, regret, and heartbreak. What happened? What happened in the bridal chamber? There must have been a large change. Xiaoxi's heart began to beat fast, and a bad feeling filled his heart. He ignored the emperor's orders and ran off in the direction of the palace. Ninger! That roar also entered the ears of the eldest princess and Yi Tingxian, who were rushing over. They had just arrived on the road outside Guan Osprey Palace when they suddenly heard this roar coming from inside. Yi Tingxian's calm face instantly turned white, and he suddenly stopped moving, looking at the eldest princess with an abnormally nervous expression. "That is my royal brother's voice. He is calling Ning-er's name. What is it? Tingxian, what happened?" The eldest princess' heart was filled with panic. "I don't know what happened either, princess. I just hope that your prank didn't cause a huge disaster. However, I have a bad feeling about this." Chapter 929. Emperor, Emperor! Xiaoxi had just arrived in front of the bedroom, and before he could even open the door, he quickly called out, "Pong!" With a large sound, the 2 sturdy doors were shattered and sent flying by Mo Chuan's palm. Mo Chuan carried Chen Ning as he charged out of the room. Xiaoxi immediately saw Chen Ning dressed in bridal clothes in Mo Chuan's embrace. Bright red wedding gown, snow-white complexion, black hair dyed with ink. She was so beautiful. Xiaoxi had never seen her more beautiful than right now, but she was lying in Mo Chuan's embrace without moving at all. A slender hand was hanging down, and she was as quiet as a dead person. Dead. This word instantly appeared in Xiaoxi's mind. It was like he had been struck by lightning. His body turned numb, and his legs turned soft, not being able to move at all. Royal Emperor, the Empress, she, what happened to her? Xiaoxi's tongue was in a knot as he stuttered, and his heart jumped to his throat. "Go find Dr. Zhang. Immediately go find Dr. Zhang. Quickly." Mo Chuan wildly roared at Xiao Si. Yes, 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 this servant will go now. Xiao Si replied. He already vaguely understood what was going on. He wanted to break into a run, but his legs were as soft as noodles, trembling and swaying. No matter what he said, he couldn't take a step forward. Emperor, Ting Xian has brought the eldest princess here to ask for forgiveness. The eldest princess has been mischievous for a moment and has caused a large disaster. I hope the emperor can forgive her. Yi Ting Xian's person hadn't arrived, but his voice arrived first. He pulled the eldest princess over from the palace gates and saw Mo Chuan's tall figure in the distance, as well as the red figure in his embrace. Yi Ting Xian's heart was beating fast, and he felt his mouth go dry. He was thinking that it wouldn't be as he expected. Hearing the words eldest princess, it was like thunder exploded in Mo Chuan's ears, instantly waking him up. He looked up. His eyes were red and swollen, just like a bloodthirsty beast. He saw the eldest princess stumbling over as Yi Ting Xian pulled her over. She was still muttering in an unconvinced manner. Ting Xian, you're making a big deal out of this. I was just joking with the emperor and Ning. What punishment is there to ask for? It's just a long worm. Royal brother wouldn't cut off my head because of this, right? Royal brother has always loved me the most. At this moment, Mo Chuan's body moved, moving as fast as lightning. Xiao Si and Yi Ting Xian only saw a red figure flash in front of them. Following that, Yi Ting Xian felt his hands loosen and the eldest princess he was tightly holding disappeared. Princess! Yi Ting Xian called out in shock. Only then did he notice that the eldest princess had been grabbed by Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan was holding Chun Ning with one hand, and his other hand was holding the eldest princess' throat. His handsome face was twisted as he stared at the eldest princess like he was looking at an enemy. The eldest princess couldn't help trembling in fear when he looked at her with that cold gaze. He looked like he was a beast that wanted to eat. He was like he wanted to eat her. No. The eldest princess looked at Mo Chuan, who had turned into a completely different person, and was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Antidote. Give me the antidote. Mo Chuan gritted his teeth, and these words came out from between his teeth. The eldest princess was stunned and muttered, What antidote? Chapter 9:30. That snake. The eldest princess was suddenly enlightened. Why did Mo Chuan seem like a different person? It was all because of that snake. She was instantly filled with anger. It was just a snake that didn't have any poison after pulling out its fangs. Did royal brother need to be this afraid? He was actually looking at her like she had killed his father. That hand that was grabbing her throat almost made her lose her breath. That snake wasn't poisonous. I pulled out its fangs. Royal brother, I just wanted to scare you. I thought that you abandoned Ning to marry someone else, and I couldn't take it. So I... Give me the antidote. Mo Chuan suddenly roared out, cutting her off. The eldest princess was stunned. She had never seen the emperor treat her this fiercely before, and instantly cried out in grievance. I already said that the snake wasn't poisonous. Where would I get the antidote? It wasn't poisonous. Mo Chuan's hand slowly tightened around her throat, and the eldest princess couldn't breathe. Her eyes opened wide, and she looked at Mo Chuan's cold eyes that seemed like they were soaked in blood. She suddenly gave a cold shiver. This snake that you sent, it bit my Ning heir to death, and she died in my arms. You actually said that it wasn't poisonous? Lu, my good little sister, just how did I let you down? How did Ning let you down? Why did you have to be this cruel? Why did you have to kill her? The eldest princess was so stunned that she forgot about the pain in her throat. She desperately shook her head, and her eyes were filled with disbelief. What did you say? Ning is dead? Impossible, impossible. She struggled to spit out a few words as she looked at the tightly held girl in Mo Chuan's arms. She had a snow-white face, a face like a painting, and a wedding dress on the ground. It was clearly Chun Ning, but she was lying in Mo Chuan's arms without moving at all. Her chest did not move at all, like she was sleeping. Ning-er, the eldest princess muttered. She looked at that familiar face in a daze, and tears unknowingly flowed out. I want you to pay for my Ning-er's life. Mo Chuan gritted his teeth and used strength in his fingers. The eldest princess' throat was filled with pain, and her bones began to crack. She gave Mo Chuan a sad smile and closed her eyes. If Ning was really killed by her, she was willing to pay with her life. This was very fair. Otherwise, when she went to the underworld, she wouldn't have the face to see Ning. Emperor, calm your anger. Emperor, calm your anger. The eldest princess was wronged. Ting Xian can testify for the princess. She just wanted to play a joke on the emperor. The snake she sent over, it really wasn't poisonous. Yi Ting Xian saw that Mo Chuan had lost his mind in his rage and that the eldest princess' life was in his hands. He was scared out of his wits as he knelt down and said this. Yi Ting Xian, are you colluding with the eldest princess to kill my Ning? Mo Chuan's eyes fell onto Yi Ting Xian, and a cold chill made his body tremble. But he still looked up without fear, meeting Mo Chuan's gaze. Chapter 9:31. Yi Ting Xian faced Mo Chuan's killing intent, but he was not servile and had a calm expression. His words were like an ice-cold spring, making Mo Chuan's mind that had been burned by the flames of anger clear up a bit. Mo Chuan finally slowly loosened his fingers. The eldest princess instantly felt a breath of fresh air enter her lungs. She took a deep breath and ignored the pain in her throat. Looking at Chen Ning in Mo Chuan's embrace, tears began to fall. Ninger, Ninger. She threw herself at Chen Ning and began to cry. If you can save her, I'm willing to kowtow to you 100 times. Mo Chuan said with an expressionless face. Even if Yi Ting Xian insisted that the snake was not poisonous, Mo Chuan had personally seen the snake poke its head out of the eldest princess gift box. He had personally seen the fangs covered in Ning Er's blood, so his hatred for the eldest princess could not be erased. The eldest princess turned a deaf ear to Mo Chuan's words. Her heart was filled with pain and regret. She was heartbroken. She did not even have time to repay Ning Er's kindness to her before she left like this. She did not even get to see her one last time. What she could not accept the most was that if Ning Er was killed by the snake she sent out, she would not be able to forgive herself even if she died 100 times. If she could save Ning Er, even if she died 100 times, she would still be willing. Emperor, this minister wants to take the Empress' pulse. Yi Ting Xian had a rough understanding of medicine, but he still did not believe that Chen Ning would die. Mo Chuan coldly looked at him and said in a cold voice, she is already not breathing. Do you have any miraculous pills that can save her? Yi Ting Xian didn't reply and carefully walked forward, placing 3 fingers on her pulse. Touching it was a wave of cold, so cold that a layer of shiver ran down his back. He only touched it once before his face turned pale. He let go of his fingers and took 2 steps back, kneeling down on the ground. My condolences to the emperor. Not only did she not have a pulse, even her body had turned ice cold. Yi Ting Xian's body turned cold, and he could not understand why this happened. He believed the eldest princess' words. She would not have sent a poisonous snake into the palace, and she did not have any intentions of harming anyone. But looking at Chen Ning's appearance, she was indeed poisoned to death. Her fingers were clearly bitten by the snake, and these were all evidence that could not be erased. Mo Chuan's heart filled with grief. Although he did not believe that Yi Ting Xian could save her, his words were like a knife stabbing into his heart. He was clearly telling himself that she was truly dead. Ninger is not dead. She is not dead. Suddenly, the eldest princess looked up from Chen Ning's body, and a look of wild joy appeared on her tear-stained face. Mo Chuan was not moved. Mo Chuan looked at her and said, Mo of Chuan did not say anything. Mo Chuan did not say. Looked at. He did not say. Ling, Chun Ting Ting Chun. He wanted to take one more look at her, and then he was ready to let her go. If she left, what meaning was there for him to live alone in this world? He would not be able to see her clear and charming eyes again. He would accompany her, whether it was in life or in death. He would not be separated from her again. Today was their wedding day, but she had left him alone. He had to quickly chase after her. Perhaps in another place, they would still be able to consummate their marriage. Chapter 9:32. Xiaoxi had never seen the emperor this heartbroken before. He used the back of his hand to cover his mouth, not letting himself cry out. He was thinking if Miss Chun died, the emperor's heart would also die. What should he do? Who could save Miss Chun? That's right, Dr. Zhang. Dr. Zhang was the doctor with the best skills in the doctor yard. He would definitely be able to save Miss Chun. Oh no, bring the empress back from the dead. Xiaoxi instantly felt that his limbs were filled with strength again. He spread his legs and used all the strength he had left to run in the direction of the Imperial Academy of Medicine. Emperor! Emperor! Ninger! She really isn't dead. Her heart is still beating. Although the eldest princess was filled with tears from Mo Chuan's heartbroken appearance, she still grabbed his shoulder and forcefully shook it, letting him clearly hear her words. Mo Chuan finally came back to his senses. He looked at the eldest princess without any focus, and his brows slightly knit, like he didn't understand what she meant. It's true, touch her. Her heart is still warm, and her heart is still beating. She isn't dead. She's still alive. The eldest princess cried out with tears in her eyes. Mo Chuan's body heavily trembled. He looked at the eldest princess with a deep look of disbelief. After a bit of hesitation, he placed his hand into the clothes of the young girl in his embrace. They had already gone through the wedding ceremony, and she was his bride, so he no longer needed to avoid anything between a man and a woman. Her skin was cold and smooth, feeling it was like touching a piece of fine jade, cold and without any warmth. Mo Chuan's heart was filled with intense pain. His finger touched her skin and slowly moved towards her heart. Although he knew that there was little hope, he still hoped that what the eldest princess said was true and that she really wasn't dead. His hand stopped at her chest. Her skin was already cold, but the skin on her chest was still slightly warm. It was soft and smooth as cotton. Suddenly, he felt a slight vibration under his finger. Although it was very weak, he could really feel it. Her heart was still beating. Dr. Zhang, quickly go find Dr. Zhang. Mo Chuan excitedly called out. Tears once again came out, but this time they were tears of joy. As long as her heart was still beating, Dr. Zhang would definitely have a way to save her. Congratulations, Emperor. Please don't be anxious. Xiaoxi has already gone to find Dr. Zhang. You should first place the Empress in her room. She has been poisoned, so it's best if she doesn't move, otherwise the poison will spread. Yi Tingxian was the calmest out of everyone. His words were spoken in an orderly manner, allowing Mo Chuan's excited heart to slowly calm down. Mo Chuan looked at him and nodded. He carefully held her, not daring to shake her at all. He turned around and entered the bridal room, placing her down on the large red dragon and phoenix bed. He looked at her hand and of his eyes of her face. She lay there quietly. Her eyes were still as gentle and elegant as when she was awake, but her charming and lively eyes were tightly shut. She would no longer smile at him, nor would she say those naughty and mischievous words to him. If she really continued to sleep like this and never woke up, Mo Chuan suddenly gave a cold shiver. He lowered his head and placed his lips on her cold lips that didn't have a trace of warmth. Chapter 9:33. Only when he was with her did he feel like a real person. He went from a walking corpse to a real person with flesh and blood. He would be happy, he would laugh, he would be sad, and he would cry. This was the first time he knew that a girl's lips were this sweet and her body was this soft. When he hugged her, his heart would beat fast from excitement. It was also the first time he knew that when he saw the eyes of the person he loved the most unable to open, he would be afraid and cry helplessly, shedding tears like a child. He also knew now that the thing he was most afraid of in this world was not snakes, but rather losing the person he loved the most. Ninger, you promised me that you would accompany me until we grow old. You promised me that you would never separate from me. Even if you were to be chopped by knives and axes, you wouldn't leave me. Don't tell me you want to go back on your promise. I'm telling you, I won't allow it. I won't allow it. If you dare go against your promise, I will bother you for a lifetime, the next life, and the life after that. I will bother you forever. Don't even think of escaping me. And Mo Chuan's forehead was against hers, and the tip of his nose was against hers. His tears fell on her face, sliding down her cheeks. He wept silently. This silent weeping was far more heartbreaking than wailing. The eldest princess supported the doorframe as she watched this scene. Her face was covered in tears as she sobbed silently. She hated herself to death. Why did she send that snake into the palace? She really didn't do it on purpose. She clearly had someone pull out the snake's fangs, but why did it still kill Ning? Yi Tingxian's eyes looked around the room. He looked very carefully, not missing a single place. Suddenly, his pupils shrank as he saw the unmoving snake body on the ground. The ground was covered in blood, and the snake's body had already been separated from the snake's head. There was a candlestick covered in blood on the side. The black snake with white spots was like a ribbon, especially eye-catching on the gold-tiled floor. Yi Tingxian slowly walked over, and he bent down to look at the snake's body for a while. Then he stood up and looked for the snake's head. He found the ugly triangular snake head in the corner, and the snake's fangs were covered in blood. Just looking at it, he felt his chest tighten and his throat itch, almost making him vomit. But he resisted the discomfort and took out a handkerchief from his sleeve, wrapping it around the snake's head. Then he walked back to the snake's body and placed the snake's head and body back into the box. Then he brought the box in front of the eldest princess. The eldest princess looked at him in confusion, not understanding what he meant. Yi Tingxian remained silent as he slowly opened the box. Seeing the snake with two heads, the eldest princess suddenly let out a cry of surprise. Then she opened her eyes wide and forcefully shook her head. "It's not this snake, it's not. What I put in was clearly a pure black snake. I personally saw its poisonous fangs being pulled out. Really, Tingxian, you have to believe me. You have to believe me. I really didn't put this snake in the box." She was extremely frightened, and her entire body was trembling. Her mind was buzzing, and when she saw the blood on the sharp snake teeth, her vision turned black. It was this black base white flower snake that had bitten Ning Er. However, this snake was not the one she had released. Chapter 9:34. Yi Tingxian pondered for a bit. He believed the eldest princess' words, but he also believed that there was someone behind this. Someone had swapped the beam for the pillar, using this black and white snake to swap out the eldest princess' black snake with its fangs removed. But who would do this? What was their goal? Was the person that wanted to harm the emperor? Or the empress? Or Ning Er? It was too confusing. Even though Yi Tingxian was smart, there were too few clues, and he couldn't think of anything at all. The only thing he could be sure of was that the person who swapped the snake came from the eldest princess palace and was someone close to the eldest princess. So he had to find this person. Otherwise, if there was one, there would be a second. Next time, who knew what kind of tricks this person would play? Who knew who his next target would be? Thinking of this, Yi Tingxian gave a cold shiver. "Princess, did you personally catch that snake?" The eldest princess shook her head and said, "Of course not. I sent someone to buy it from the market. However, I personally saw someone pull out the snake's fangs, and I personally put the snake in a box, but I don't understand how it turned into a poisonous black snake." "Oh, if you didn't pull out the snake's fangs, then who did it?" Yi Tingxian slightly narrowed his eyes. "It was one of my maids. I just asked who dared to pull out the snake's fangs, and she volunteered to do it. She was very good at pulling out the fangs, so I rewarded her with 2 silver coins," said the eldest princess. "Is there such a capable maid in your mansion? How come I didn't know about it?" "She has been by my side for several years, and I didn't know she had this kind of skill." "Tingxian, when did you become interested in my palace's maids?" The eldest princess said in a puzzled voice. "I'm not interested in other maids, but I am very interested in this maid who can pull out the fangs." "Eldest princess, you should immediately return to the palace and find this maid. Don't let her escape and don't let her die. I have something to interrogate her about," Yi Tingxian said with a serious expression. The eldest princess had a straightforward personality, but she wasn't stupid. She understood once she heard this. Her brows instantly knit together and she clenched her fists. This girl is really bold, actually daring to play tricks in front of this princess. "I will return to the palace now." If it really was this girl, even if I pull out her tendons and skin her, it won't be enough to vent the anger in my heart. I want to ask her just what kind of hatred does Ninger have for her and why she would use this kind of poison to harm me. She was so angry that tears came out of her eyes again, but they were quickly burned away by her anger. She turned around and walked out with large steps. Ting Xian, Yi Ting Xian thought about it and chased after him, warning, "This matter cannot be leaked out to avoid alerting the enemy." Also, that servant girl might not be the one who switched the package. Perhaps there is a mastermind behind her. You have a rash personality, and even if I let you interrogate, you won't be able to get anything out of her. You just need to keep an eye on her and wait for me to go back and ask her. I understand. I will immediately return to the palace. If that girl escapes, I will find her even if I have to go to the heavens. If I can't get any results, I will pay with my life for Ninger. The eldest princess suddenly stomped her foot and looked back at the unconscious Chun Ning on the bed. Chapter 9:35. Yi Ting Xian nodded. His expression was serious, but there were some things he couldn't say to the eldest princess. He just waved his hand, and the eldest princess turned around to leave. Mo Chuan stood by the bed, turning a deaf ear to Yi Ting Xian and the eldest princess' words. He didn't care who the culprit was or who harmed Ning, or he just wanted her to come back to life. Even if he exchanged his life for it, he was willing. He held her cold and stiff hand, and his heart began to tremble again. Other than the trace of warmth in her heart, her entire body was cold and stiff. He couldn't help putting his face against her chest, feeling that warmth and feeling her weak heartbeat. Only like this could he be sure that she was still alive. Yi Ting Xian silently stood outside the door, not bothering the two of them. He furrowed his delicate and pretty eyebrows, thinking hard about how this accident happened. But no matter how he thought about it, he couldn't figure it out. Who did the person who swapped the snake want to kill? The matter of Chun Ning being the empress, there weren't many people that knew about it. Even the eldest princess didn't know about it, and the people in her palace didn't know about it. There's only one possibility. That person did not want to harm Chun Ning, but rather the emperor. Chun Ning is just a scapegoat for the emperor. Coming to this conclusion, Yi Ting Xian felt a cold wind blow from the door. It made his body tremble, and he was covered in goosebumps. Someone wanted to kill the emperor. Who was it? Who could it be? The first person Yi Ting Xian thought of was Chu Xiaoyang, because after Mo Chuan ascended to the throne, he loved the people and was loved by the West Chu citizens and ministers. Compared to the previous emperor, he was even better. In these 10 years, everyone had already forgotten about the previous emperor and rarely mentioned the previous emperor. However, Chu Xiaoyang was the previous emperor's son, so Mo Chuan's throne should have been his. After all these years, he had watched someone else sit in the position that should have belonged to him. How could he not hate him to the bone? Not to mention that Chu Xiaoyang and the emperor not only hated him for stealing the throne, but also hated him for stealing his wife. If Chu Xiaoyang knew that the bride he was marrying was his previous Dingyuan princess, how could he not be filled with hatred? It was Chu Xiaoyang. It had to be Chu Xiaoyang. Yi Ting Xian could conclude without any hesitation that this matter was done by Chu Xiaoyang. But thinking about it, he felt that it wasn't like it. Chu Xiaoyang was decisive and ruthless, but he was also rash and impulsive, not being meticulous enough. If he really wanted to take revenge on the emperor, he would not have used such a roundabout method. He would have chosen to assassinate, or openly provoke the emperor. He would not have used this method. This was a trick, a person, hiding a poisonous snake in a gift box. This was more like a girl than a man. Speaking of this was a prank that the eldest princess came up with. Although the eldest princess was very carefree, she was still a woman in the end, so the pranks and methods of revenge she came up with were naturally different from men. Could it be that the instigator of this incident was a woman? Tiamat Zhou family Ming XT could. Once this thought entered Yi Ting Xian's mind, it caused his entire body to turn cold. He couldn't help turning around to look at the emperor and Chun Ning in the room. He couldn't help shivering. Chapter 9:36. If it really was Empress Dowager Zhou, even if Dr. Zhang saved her, she wouldn't be able to escape Empress Dowager Zhou's hands sooner or later. This was because in the royal palace, Empress Dowager Zhou was the head of the harem. If she wanted to disappear without a trace, she had too many tricks up her sleeves. Chen Ning had just entered the palace. How could she fight against Empress Dowager Zhou? Should he tell this guess to the emperor so that the emperor can take precautions? Yiting Xian hesitated for a bit before shaking his head. It couldn't be Empress Dowager Zhou. His eyes fell onto the gift box in his hand. He could confirm once again that this matter had nothing to do with Empress Dowager Zhou. This was because the poisonous snake was placed in the gift the eldest princess sent into the palace. The one who opened the gift box could be the emperor or Chen Ning. If Empress Dowager Zhou sent someone to do this, would she not think that this snake would bite the emperor? Even if she hated Chen Ning and wanted Chen Ning to die, she was still the emperor's mother, and she couldn't bear to let the emperor be in any danger. Not to mention that the emperor was most afraid of snakes. As a mother, how could she let her son suffer the same kind of fear again? So it definitely couldn't be Empress Dowager Zhou. But other than Empress Dowager Zhou, what other girl would be bold enough to harm the emperor? What grudge or hatred did she have with the emperor? Could it be hatred because of love? Unthinkable. According to Yiting Xian's knowledge, there were countless women in the capital city that admired the emperor, and there were countless young ladies that wanted to climb up the branches to become phoenixes. It was very likely that the murderer was one of them. Because she heard that the emperor was getting married and wanted to marry someone else, she was filled with jealousy and had the intent to kill. Yiting Xian deeply knit his brows, thinking that this would be very difficult. Finding the murderer was like finding a needle in a haystack. That maid definitely wasn't the mastermind. It was very likely that she had been bribed by someone else and then used the poisonous black flower snake to exchange for the eldest princess, Toothless Snake. That person didn't care if the person bitten by the snake was the emperor or the empress. She just wanted to kill and take revenge. No matter who was bitten by the snake, that person would achieve their goal. This person had such a vicious heart, such a sinister plan. Yiting Xian's heart was filled with rage. He wanted to immediately return to the eldest princess palace and find the murderer. This kind of person definitely couldn't be left in this world. Otherwise, he would use this poison again to kill people. The next person he wanted to kill was very likely the emperor or the eldest princess. Right at that moment, he suddenly heard the sound of hurried hooves coming from outside the palace. Two horses were rushing towards Guan Osprey Palace one after the other. Horses were strictly forbidden in the inner courtyard of the imperial palace. Those who dared to ride on a horse in the imperial palace were either the emperor or had a matter of life and death. Yiting Xian's eyes instantly lit up. Yiting Xian's eyes lit up. Sure enough, the horse hooves stopped at the palace gates, and a gray figure flashed in. Behind the gray figure was Xiao Si. Zhue Feng slowed down. Don't break Dr. Zhang. He still needs to save the empress. That gray figure was Zhue Feng. He had always been by Dr. Zhang's side. Suddenly hearing the news from Xiao Si, he and Dr. Zhang were so scared that their limbs turned cold. Chapter 9:37. Zhue Feng ran to the door of the palace in one breath before putting Dr. Zhang down. Dr. Zhang's head was spinning. He wanted to scold Zhue Feng a few times to vent his anger, but his eyes suddenly swept over and fell onto the emperor and Chun Ning in the room. Seeing Chun Ning lying motionless on the bed, his eyelids jumped up. He didn't care about scolding Zhue Feng as he strode into the palace. Emperor, please allow this old minister to take the empress' pulse. Dr. Zhang saw Chun Ning wearing the bride's clothes, but there was no surprise on his face at all. Rather, he felt that this was normal. He had been a doctor in the palace for several decades. What kind of things hadn't he seen before? Mo Chuan and Chen Ning's matters had never been hidden from him, so he knew what he could say and what he couldn't say. Even in front of Empress Dowager Zhou, He did not reveal anything at all. It was because of this that he had the trust of Empress Dowager Zhou and the Emperor. Dr. Zhang, save her. This one believes that you can save her. Hearing Dr. Zhang's voice, Mo Chuan took a deep breath and looked up. He tightly grabbed Dr. Zhang's wrist, and his palm was covered in cold sweat. Dr. Zhang did not nod or shake his head. When he saw Chun Ning's complexion, his heart became heavy. Towards matters he wasn't confident in, he would never easily make a promise. Emperor, this old minister will do his best. Mo Chuan nodded. He let go of his hand and stared at Dr. Zhang without blinking. He just looked at Dr. Zhang's expression, hoping that he would say, "She can be saved." Dr. Zhang placed 3 fingers on Chun Ning's pulse and closed his eyes. Very quickly, his 2 white brows jumped up and he opened his eyes with a look of shock. There's no pulse. How can there be no pulse? Mo Chuan's heart also jumped up. Before he could say anything, Dr. Zhang suddenly looked up at him and reached out to take his pulse. Dr. Zhang, this one wants you to save her life, but you've taken the wrong pulse. Mo Chuan suppressed his anger. If the other side wasn't Dr. Zhang, he would have already sent a palm over. Emperor, please forgive this old minister for being direct. The Empress, she has already passed away. Emperor, please accept my condolences. You are too sad and there is still poison in your body. If you don't detoxify it in time, there will be a large problem. This old minister cannot reverse the situation and cannot save the Empress' life. But this old minister can give you a prescription to remove the poison in the Emperor's body. Dr. Zhang took back his hand and said to Zhu Feng, "Bring me my medicine box." He had been practicing medicine for decades and had seen many people die of old age. He had also seen many separations between life and death. Therefore, his words were spoken from the perspective of a pure doctor and did not consider the feelings of the listener. His words were like a clap of thunder, striking the people present in a daze. Mo Chuan was stunned, Zhu Feng was stunned, Xiao Si and Yi Ting Xian were stunned. Xiao Si was the first to react. He couldn't help narrowing his eyes at Dr. Zhang, thinking that this old doctor was muddle-headed. How could he be this straightforward? Xiao Si was the first to react. He couldn't help looking at Dr. Zhang with a frown, thinking that this old doctor was confused. How could he be this direct? Dr. Zhang, what nonsense are you saying? She isn't dead at all. Her heart is still beating. Take her pulse again. Carefully take her pulse again. Mo Chuan forcefully controlled himself and barely managed to speak in a calm voice. He really had the urge to slap Dr. Zhang's head just now. Chapter 9:38. Impossible, impossible. This old minister has been a doctor for several decades. How could there be a person whose heart is still beating when their pulse has stopped? It's definitely impossible. Dr. Zhang shook his white-haired head and looked at Mo Chuan with a gaze of pity and sympathy. Emperor, a dead person can't be revived. The Emperor should restrain your grief. You've also been poisoned, so this old minister should first give you a prescription to expel the poison. He stood up to take the medicine box after saying this, but his wrist suddenly tightened as Mo Chuan firmly grabbed it. Emperor, what do you want to do? He stuttered as he looked at Mo Chuan, being scared by the killing intent in the other side's eyes. Mo Chuan stared right at him and said word for word, "Save her. This one wants you to save her." This one will say it again. She's not dead. This one has personally touched her chest. Her chest is still warm and her heart is still beating. No, impossible. Dr. Zhang had a look of disbelief. There is nothing that is impossible in this world. She's not dead. If you say that she's dead again, this one will take your life. Mo Chuan anxiously shouted. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Dr. Zhang shivered. He could see that although the Emperor's heart was filled with sorrow, his mind was still clear. Could it be that the Empress really wasn't dead? But this was impossible. She clearly had no pulse, and her body was cold and stiff, so how could there still be a heartbeat? Dr. Zhang knit his brows and looked over at Chun Ning on the bed again. This time he did not take her pulse. Rather, he carefully observed her complexion. He found that her face was pale and her lips were purple, but her face did not change at all. She looked like she was sleeping and did not have the lifeless complexion of a dead person. Dr. Zhang frowned. Emperor, this old minister wants to hear the Emperor's heartbeat. I wonder, what does the Emperor think? Dr. Zhang also felt it was strange, and he began to believe in Mo Chuan's words. Perhaps she really did have a heartbeat, but it was unknown. Hearing this, Mo Chuan's face instantly sunk, and he said with a dark face, "Could it be you don't believe this one's words? This one says that her heart is still beating. It's definitely not fake." No, Emperor, this old minister does not mean that. This old minister wants to hear the Emperor's heartbeat to determine how to save the Empress. Dr. Zhang quickly explained. Mo Chuan's face became incomparably ugly as he stared at Dr. Zhang. No, he decisively said. Even if it was, in order to save her, even if Dr. Zhang was old, he wouldn't let this old doctor touch her chest. Dr. Zhang revealed an awkward expression. He opened a medicine box and took out a red thread to give to Mo Chuan. He said, "As long as the Emperor places this thread over the Emperor's heart, this old minister can feel her pulse." Mo Chuan's taut face instantly relaxed. This was a good idea. Mo Chuan's taut face instantly relaxed. This was a method. Dr. Zhang picked up the other end of the red line and closed his eyes again. He could feel a weak beat coming from the other end of the red line. Although the heartbeat was less than half of a normal person's, her heart was still slowly beating. As long as her heart was still beating, she was not dead. Dr. Zhang opened his eyes, and his eyes were filled with confusion. In his decades of experience as a doctor, he had never seen a case like this before. Her body was clearly cold and stiff, so why was there a heartbeat? Strange, truly strange. Chapter 9:39. Dr. Zhang thought about it for a while before he suddenly looked up at Mo Chuan. Emperor, after the Empress was poisoned, did you give her any antidote or some elixir? Mo Chuan shook his head. After she was poisoned, she quickly stopped breathing. This one did not have time to give her the antidote. That's strange. The Empress stopped breathing and her body turned cold, so she should be dead by now, but her heart is still beating and her chest is still warm. According to this old minister's judgment, the Empress should have eaten something like 1,000-year-old flower root. It was because of the spirituality of that medicine that the Empress was able to survive. Dr. Zhang stroked his beard as he spoke in deep thought. Mo Chuan's eyes instantly lit up. Then your meaning is that as long as there is 1,000-year-old flower root, she can be saved, right? It should be like this. The Empress poison is very strong, killing people instantly. The Empress being able to live until now should be because of the elixirs she has eaten. This 1,000-year-old flower root and flower root have the effect of reviving the dead. So if we can get one of them, the Empress will be able to come back to life. However, these two things are legendary items that are rarely seen in 100 years. This old minister has only heard of them and has never seen them before. Wanting to obtain these two treasures, it is easier said than done. He said this while shaking his head and sighing. The light of hope that had just appeared in Mo Chuan's eyes instantly dimmed. He gritted his teeth and looked at Zhue Feng. Zhue Feng sent out all the secret guards to find 1,000-year-old flower root and flower root. No matter what the cost, you have to obtain them. Zhue Feng replied, "Yes, Emperor." When he was prepared to leave, he heard Dr. Zhang say, "Emperor, unless you can find the antidote within 24 hours, it will be too late. This elixir can only protect the Emperor's heart for 24 hours at most. If that time passes, even a great principal golden immortal will not be able to save her." Xiaoxi and Zhue Feng couldn't help giving an ah sound as their faces turned pale. Looking at each other, they could see the despair in each other's eyes. There was only 24 hours, but they had to find the legendary rare treasures. This was simply as hard as ascending to the heavens. "Zhue Feng, why aren't you going?" Mo Chuan shouted out in a deep voice, waking Zhue Feng up from his daze. Yes. Zhue Feng did not stop as he used his qin gong to quickly disappear in front of everyone. Mo Chuan tightly gritted his teeth. There was still 24 hours, That meant she could live for another 24 hours. This meant he had another 24 hours of hope. Shaoxi, bring some people to all the medical centers in the capital to look for the 1,000-year-old Poria cocos and fleece flower root. Yes, Your Majesty. Shaoxi solemnly accepted the order and rushed out with large steps. Mo Chuan turned around and slowly sat down in front of the bed. He held Chen Ning's hand and stared at her face. In these 24 hours, he did not want to leave her for even a second. He wanted to watch over her. Dr. Zhang couldn't help shaking his head. He carried the medicine box and silently left, going to the side hall to boil the medicine. Because the emperor was also poisoned, as a doctor, he naturally had to prioritize the emperor's body. Yi Tingxian, who had not spoken for a long time, suddenly walked forward. Chapter 940. 1,000-year-old snow ginseng? A light suddenly flashed in Mo Chuan's mind. He quickly looked up and looked at Yi Tingxian. This one remembers. It's the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. That's right, it's the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. Ninger told me before that Chu Xiaoyang had given her a bowl of snow ginseng soup, but he had put a despicable drug in it. That's right, it was that bowl of snow ginseng soup that saved Ninger's life. His mood was very complex. He didn't know if he should hate Chu Xiaoyang or thank him for saving Ninger's life. Emperor, the Empress only drank a bowl of snow ginseng soup. According to what this minister knows, the snow ginseng given by the East Qin Crown Prince has already been formed. It is impossible for it to only be a bowl of soup. So this minister thinks that King Dingyuan must have some leftover. If the emperor sends someone to find King Dingyuan, and if he is willing to give up the rest of the snow ginseng, the empress can be saved. After Yi Tingxian said this, he silently retreated to the side. He knew that if he wanted Chu Xiaoyang to give up the snow ginseng to save Chen Ning, it would be harder than ascending to the heavens. But this was the only hope of saving Chen Ning. Mo Chuan's pupil shrank. He already understood Yi Tingxian's meaning. That's right, only Chu Xiaoyang could save her now. But would Chu Xiaoyang be willing to take out the snow ginseng to save her? Mo Chuan thought of Chu Xiaoyang's eyes filled with hatred. He knew that Chu Xiaoyang would definitely not agree. But this was the only way to save her. He had to agree even if he didn't want to. Tingxian, help this one guard this place. Don't let anyone disturb her, even if the Empress Dowager comes. Do you understand? As long as someone dares take a step into the Guanyu Palace, they will be killed. This is this one's gold medallion. Holding it is like this one is here. Your words are this one's words. This one wants you to protect her. Can you do it? Mo Chuan took the gold medallion from his waist and placed it in Yi Tingxian's hands. Yi Tingxian kneeled down to receive it and said in a clear voice, "This minister will not disappoint the emperor's trust." He knew what the emperor was going to do. As he took the heavy gold medal, it was as if a heavy burden had been placed on his shoulders. All right, this one will temporarily entrust her to you. Then within 24 hours, this one will be back. After Mo Chuan said this, he turned around to take a deep look at Chen Ning before turning around to leave without looking back. Yi Tingxian only saw his red figure flash up to the roof. Asterisk at this moment, Chu Xiaobai was already carrying Chu Xiaoyang back to the King Dingyuan Palace. He directly went to the Peach Blossom House and placed Chu Xiaoyang in a chair, but he did not release his acupuncture point. Third brother, I know you will definitely hate me, but I can't let you do anything wrong. When the sun rises tomorrow, I will unseal your acupuncture point. Tonight, you should rest here for the night. I will accompany you here the whole time. Chu Xiaoyang's chest went up and down from his anger. His eyes stared right at Chu Xiaobai's face, wishing he could punch a hole in his face. If it wasn't for his mute acupuncture point being sealed, he would have already cursed Chu Xiaobai out. Chu Xiaochan knew this, so he didn't seal his heart, saving his ears from the pain. He thought about it and placed Chu Xiaoyang on the bed, covering him with a blanket. The sky was already turning dark at this time, and the light of dusk entered the room. Chapter 941. He was holding a military book in his hand. Chu Xiaobai flipped through a few pages, but he couldn't get into it. He stared at the pages in a daze as his mind wandered to the heavens. His heart flew into the palace. He couldn't help thinking, how did she become the emperor's bride? He had clearly seen her leave with Namu Quo's carriage that day. Could it be that Namu Quo would let her go? Perhaps he had seen the wrong person, and his third brother had also seen the wrong person. It was just a girl with a similar figure to her. Chu Xiaobai gave a faint sigh and put down the military book. He turned around and saw Chu Xiaoyang staring at him with dark red eyes. He thought about it and released Chu Xiaoyang's mute acupuncture point. Chu Xiaoyang almost immediately began to curse. Chu Xiaobai, you fucking release father's acupuncture point. He shook his head. Third brother, if I unseal your acupuncture points, you will rush into the imperial palace. You will anger the emperor, and you will cause a great disaster. I hope you can calm down. No matter if the person the emperor is marrying today is Ning, or not, you have no qualifications or reason to destroy their marriage. They have already been married. Chu Xiaoyang gritted his teeth and coldly said, Chu Xiaobai, you really are a complete fool. You wholeheartedly worked for the emperor and even gave your favorite woman to him. But how did he treat you? Did he ever trust you? Did he ever feel grateful to you? I don't think so. He doesn't trust you at all, hiding everything from you. You're even more pitiful than me. He sold you out, and you're still helping him count his money. Don't you think you're stupid? Even now, you're still helping him. Do you even know how close you are? I, Chu Xiaoyang, am your blood-related brother, and we are the ones who have blood thicker than water. What does that Chu Mo Chuan count for? He is just a traitor that usurped our royal father's position. He took away my throne, and now he has taken away my woman. Tell me, should I hate him or not? Say it, say it. Chu Xiaobai's face turned white. His hands clenched into fists and his joints popped out. Third brother, shut your mouth. What you're saying right now is disrespectful to the emperor. Your throne was not stolen by the emperor. It was because third brother was young at the time, and our West Chu was facing internal and external troubles. If third brother had ascended to the throne at the time, not only would you not have saved our royal father, you would have harmed the citizens of our West Chu country. Chu Xiaobai's words were cut off by Chu Xiaoyang's cold laugh before he could finish. Chu Xiaobai, Chu Xiaoyang, I was young at the time. How old are you? How much do you know? How much? If I didn't guess wrong, the Empress Dowager must have whispered a lot of things into your ears these years. Did she say these words? Chu Xiao Chu Mother Chu. He shally with him. I said back. Chu Chu to them to Chu too. He Chu. He Chu Chu. He Chu. Chu Mo Chuan is shameless, and his mother Empress Dowager Zhou is even more shameless. Chu Xiaobai's face turned even paler, and his lips trembled. If these words were to spread, even if Chu Xiaoyang had 100 heads, it wouldn't be enough. Chapter 942. That's because the person sitting on the throne is not me. How do you know I can't do it? I hate the mother and son. I hate them for stealing my throne and stealing my wife. I want to take back everything that belongs to me. Chu Xiaobai, if you're still my blood-related little brother, don't stop me and stand with me. Could it be you've forgotten where our royal father is right now? He is currently a prisoner in East Qin, living a life worse than death. But what about Chu Mo Chuan? After all these years, has he ever thought about sending troops to East Qin? Has he ever thought about saving our royal father back to the country? He never has, because he is afraid. He is afraid that once our royal father returns, he will steal his throne. Chu Xiaoyang forcefully gasped for breath, like an angry lion. He roared out louder and louder, roaring out without caring about anything. These words had been in his heart for 10 years, almost suffocating him. Chu Xiaobai's lips moved, wanting to refute his words, but he did not know how to refute them. Thinking of his royal father that he had not seen in 10 years, his heart filled with sorrow and guilt. He was living a luxurious life in the capital city, but what about his royal father? He had become a prisoner in another country, not even knowing if his royal father was alive or dead. He wholeheartedly supported the emperor by his side, hoping to make West Chu stronger day by day. Then he could defeat East Qin and save his royal father back to the country. But after 10 years, he still could not see a trace of hope. East Qin was becoming stronger day by day, while West Chu was swaying in the wind and could be swallowed by East Qin at any time. Saving his royal father back to the country had already become an unrealistic dream. Chu Xiaobai's eyes became hot and tears began to fall. Third brother, don't say any more. It's not that the emperor doesn't want to save royal father. It's just that now is not the time. Compared to East Qin's military strength, even if we send out troops, we have no chance of winning at all. If you say these words again, it's the same as usurping the throne. Usurping the throne? Who am I usurping? Who am I usurping? It was clearly Chu Mo Chuan who usurped my throne. I just want to take back everything that belongs to me. Chu Xiaoyang roared out. Third brother, be a bit quieter. Even if this is your palace, it's hard to guarantee that the walls have ears. If these words were to reach the emperor's ears, would you still have a life? What am I afraid of? I don't have anything now, the throne, the princess. I only have my life left. If Chu Mo Chuan wants it, he can take it away at any time. Third brother, Chu Xiaobai looked at the crazy Chu Xiaoyang and didn't know how to wake him up. His ears suddenly moved, and he seemed to hear the sound of the wind blowing leaves. Although this sound was very soft, when it fell into the ears of a martial artist like Chu Xiaobai, he could immediately tell that it was not a leaf, but rather an expert with excellent Qigong had come. Chu 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 Chu. Chu Xiaobai's expression turned cold, and he released Chu Xiaoyang's acupuncture point without even thinking. His instincts told him that it was an enemy. Perhaps they were here to harm his third brother. Chu Xiaoyang did not even have time to get up from the bed before he heard a clear and cold voice from outside the window. It's me. Chapter 943. With a pung sound, the two long windows seemed to be blown open by the wind. A person wearing a blood-red robe with thick eyebrows, dark eyes, and a head of black hair was blown by the wind. His jade-like face was as still as water, without any expression at all. Greetings to the emperor. Chu Xiaobai immediately fell to the ground, and his back was instantly covered in a cold sweat. He never would have dreamed that Mo Chuan would suddenly appear here. Moreover, the emperor was wearing that bright red wedding robe. That was his wedding robe. At this time, shouldn't the emperor be in the bridal room with her? Why was he here? Didn't the conversation between him and his third brother fall into the emperor's ears? Thinking of this, Chu Xiaobai's body was covered in a cold sweat. Chu Xiaoyang slowly stood up from the bed. His slender body was straight, and a pair of blood-red eyes stared right at Mo Chuan. He did not kneel down or bow. He just looked at Mo Chuan without saying a word. Chu Xiaobai was so anxious that he began to sweat. He kept giving Chu Xiaoyang meaningful looks, but Chu Xiaoyang ignored them. Emperor, please forgive me. My third brother is drunk, and his mind is not clear, causing him to lose his etiquette. I ask for the emperor's forgiveness. Hearing Chu Xiaobai's words, Chu Xiaoyang couldn't help giving a cold laugh. Xiaobai, this king doesn't need you to plead for me. I just don't want to kneel down to him. If he wants to kill me, then kill him. Chu Mo Chuan, I knew that you wouldn't be able to hold back and would make a move against me sooner or later. I've been waiting for you for a long, long time, but I never thought that you would choose this kind of special day. Very good. Take my head as your wedding gift. After he said this, his right hand reached out and pulled out a long sword from the wall. With a wave of his hand, the long sword came out of the sheath and flew at Mo Chuan. Third brother, what are you doing? Mo Xiaobai's heart skipped a beat. He saw the long sword pierce through the window frame with a chi sound, and the sword hilt kept shaking right in front of Mo Chuan. Chu Mo Chuan, use this sword to take my head. Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold laugh. There was not a trace of drunkenness in his eyes at all. Third brother, don't speak nonsense. How can you directly call the emperor's name? Chu Xiaobai never thought that Chu Xiaoyang would be this bold. He couldn't even cover it for the other side. In my heart, He has long since ceased to be the emperor. He stole my throne, and today, he even stole my woman. Do you think I can still treat him as the emperor? Chu Mo Chuan, do you dare say that the one who married you today isn't Nanger? Chu Mo Chuan, do you dare say that the one? Chu Xiaoyang's eyes turned blood red from jealousy. He suddenly did not want to endure it anymore. Perhaps he had suppressed it for too long, and it was finally time for it to explode. Mo Chuan looked at him with an expressionless face. He was not angry or hateful. He just looked at Chu Xiaoyang like this. Chu Xiaobai's heart tightened. He realized that something must have happened, otherwise the emperor would not have appeared here at this time. Emperor, did something happen in the palace? He asked in a soft voice. Mo Chuan did not look at him. He just stared at Chu Xiaoyang and slowly nodded. That's right, Chu Xiaoyang, you're right. It was me who stole your throne. The emperor should have been yours. Hearing this, Chu Xiaoyang and Chu Xiaobai were both stunned. Chapter 944. What do you mean? Chu Xiaoyang stared right at Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan took out a bright yellow silk bag from his chest and threw it into Chu Xiaoyang's chest without even looking. Chu Xiaoyang subconsciously caught it. It was very heavy in his hands. His heart couldn't help skipping a beat as his right hand reached into the silk bag. It was cold to the touch and smooth. When he took it out, he found that it was actually a jade seal. Emperor, Chu Xiaobai's face fell as he looked at Mo Chuan in disbelief. He never would have thought that the emperor would not come to punish his third brother. He would even give the country's jade seal to his third brother. Something big must have happened. Chu Xiaoyang looked at the jade seal in his hand. That cold and heavy jade seal was in his hands. This jade seal was the symbol of imperial power. This was something that he had always dreamed of, and now it had fallen into his hands. He stared at the jade seal and suddenly looked up. He broke out in laughter, laughing until tears came out. Chu Mo Chuan, you're giving me the jade seal so that I can die in peace, right? You really are kind enough. Ha 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 ha. Chu Xiaoyang, you want the throne? I'll give it to you. You want the jade seal? I'll give it to you. I'll give all of this to you. I just want one thing from you. Mo Chuan looked at Chu Xiaoyang and said this word for word. Chu Xiaoyang's laughter suddenly stopped. He stared at Mo Chuan and said in a cold voice, Everything I have has been taken by you. What else do you want from me? My life. Come and take it. I don't want your life. I want that 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. I'll use the throne to exchange for it. As long as you give me the snow ginseng, I'm willing to abdicate in front of the citizens and let you ascend to the throne. Mo Chuan looked at him with a serious expression. Emperor, what are you saying? Are you drunk? Chu Xiaobai almost suspected that there was a problem with his ears. Today, the emperor's words were like one thunderbolt after another, blowing him up until he was dizzy. Chu Xiaoyang was stunned. He was the same as Chu Xiaobai, not believing a single word Mo Chuan said. He thought that Mo Chuan's words were sarcastic, and he was here to take his life. Chu Mo Chuan, stop pretending to be merciful. Are you willing to give the throne to me? Hey, your words are even better than singing. You're actually using the throne to exchange for that 1,000-year-old snow ginseng? Do you think I, Chu Xiaoyang, is a 3-year-old child? Do you think I, Chu Xiaoyang, is a 3-year-old child? I'm not lying to you. I'm serious. Chu Xiaoyang, I've even given you the jade seal. What else do you not believe? As long as you give me that snow ginseng, this emperor will be yours. I will immediately write the abdication edict and abdicate to you. Xiao Mo Chuan, Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Chao Xiao Chu. Chun at Chun. Mo Chuan, he said. You're going to immediately write the edict? He stared right at Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan nodded without any hesitation. Not bad. Chu Xiaoyang was filled with joy, but he didn't dare believe it. He was afraid that Mo Chuan was just casually lying to him. All right, write the edict first, and I'll immediately give you the snow ginseng. All right. Mo Chuan did not hesitate at all. He picked up the pen on the table and took out a piece of paper. He raised the pen and began to write. After a while, an abdication edict appeared on the paper. Now you just need to stamp it, and it will take effect. Chapter 945. Third Brother Don't. Chu Xiao by saw Chu Xiao Yang holding the jade seal and placing it on the cinnabar clay, about to stamp it on the edict. He quickly came forward to stop him. Move aside. This matter has nothing to do with you. Xiao Bai, you saw it with your own eyes and heard it with your own ears. I didn't force him. He willingly abdicated the throne to me. This is something sent to me. Why can't I take it? Chu Xiao Yang waved his right palm, and a sharp palm energy shot out at Chu Xiao Bai, forcing him back several steps. The jade seal in his left hand fell down and heavily stamped the edict. Then he raised the edict and broke out in a proud laugh. I'm going to be the emperor. I'm finally going to be the emperor. The throne that has been stolen from me for 10 years has finally returned to my hands. He had waited for 10 years, looking forward for 10 years, finally waiting for this day. His heart was filled with joy and anger, excitement and pride. He raised his head and laughed, feeling satisfied and proud of himself. Third brother. Chu Xiao Bai looked at Chu Xiao Yang, who was laughing like crazy, and there was an indescribable feeling in his heart. There was sympathy, pity, and sorrow. This was because he knew that even if his third brother became the emperor, he wouldn't be able to do better than Mo Chuan because his heart was much narrower and more selfish than Mo Chuan. He had a tyrannical personality and did not treat people kindly. If the West Chu world fell into his third brother's hands, it would not be a good thing. He turned to look at Mo Chuan. He couldn't understand why the emperor would suddenly make such a shocking decision. Wasn't today the day of his wedding? He had married the best girl in the world. Shouldn't he be proud of his success? Shouldn't he be filled with joy, excitement? Why couldn't he see any of this from the emperor's face? Chu Xiao Bai could see a trace of fear on Mo Chuan's expressionless face. His sleeves were slightly trembling, and he was filled with fear. His eyes were filled with anger and sorrow. He actually wanted to use the throne to exchange for 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. Could it be that the snow ginseng was more important than the throne in the emperor's heart? No. Chu Xiao Bai knew that there was only one person in the emperor's heart that was more important than the throne. Your Majesty, tell me, did something happen to Ning-er? Tell me, what happened to Ning-er? Chu Xiao Bai suddenly came forward and grabbed Mo Chuan's sleeve. He didn't care about the difference between a ruler and a minister as he stared at Mo Chuan's eyes. A huge fear rose in his heart, causing his entire body to turn cold. Mo Chuan did not look at him. His eyes never left Chu Xiao Yang. I've already given you the edict. Where is the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng? He reached out his hand to Chu Xiao Yang. Chu Xiao Yang slowly stopped laughing. He had already recovered from his ecstasy because Chu Xiao Bai's words reminded him that the emperor would actually use the throne to exchange for a snow ginseng that was not worth a single coin in his eyes. Xiao, the 1,000-year snow ginseng, was a life-saving item. This meant that he was going to use it to save someone who was more important to him than the throne. Without a doubt, this person was his Ning-er. Chu's heart trembled. Chu Xiao Chen's face. Chu Xiao. Chu Sha. Yang, do with Yang, do with him. Yang Sha with. Yang to shay with him with shakes. With Chu. With. With Sha. Chapter 946. Chu Xiao Yang. Don't you want the throne the most in this world? I've already given it back to you. This snow ginseng is useless to you, and you're giving up this chance. Don't you regret it? Mo Chuan opened his eyes and stared at him as he spoke. Chu Xiao Yang's lips curled, and he revealed a cold smile of ridicule. Do you think I, Chu Xiao Yang, am a fool? If it wasn't to save Ning-er, would you be willing to exchange the throne for the snow ginseng? Tell me, did something happen to Ning-er? You want to use the snow ginseng to save her life, right? Mo Chuan took a deep breath. He knew that Chu Xiao Yang was very smart. Since he had already guessed it, he couldn't hide it anymore. Yes, she has been poisoned by an incomparably poisonous snake, and her life is in danger. She can only live for another 24 hours. If she doesn't take this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng, her life will be in danger. Mo Chuan said in a low voice. His hands were in his sleeves and tightly clenched into fists. What did you say? Chu Xiaoyang's face turned white, and he threw the edict in his hand to the ground. Just a moment ago, the edict had been incomparably attractive in his eyes. But now, his attention was no longer on it. Say it again. Chu Xiaoyang's body slightly swayed before stabilizing himself. Chu Xiaobai did not say anything and just closed his eyes. This was because he had already guessed most of it. He didn't know how she was poisoned, but as long as she had the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng, no matter how strong the poison was, it would be cured. Someone hid a poisonous snake in the gift, and she was bitten by the snake. Her life is in danger, and she needs the snow ginseng to save her life. Chu Xiaoyang, I'll give you what you want. I only want the snow ginseng. I only want to save her life. Mo Chuan said in a deep voice, but his voice couldn't help trembling. Chu Xiaoyang was stunned. When he heard that her life was in danger, his heart filled with pain, but he quickly calmed down and a wild joy filled his heart. Good chance, this was truly a good chance. Ha 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 ha. He couldn't control himself as he broke out in laughter again. His laughter was filled with joy. His laughter made Chu Xiaobai's expression change. Mo Chuan stared at him and his chin tightened. Third brother, are you crazy? Hearing that Ning is in danger, you can still smile? Chu Xiaobai looked at Chu Xiaoyang in disbelief. Of course I'm going to laugh. I'm too happy because the heavens have finally pitied me and given me such a great gift. Tell me, shouldn't I be happy? Should he be happy? Ha 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 ha. Chu Xiaoyang laughed until tears came out. Mo Chuan's face became darker and darker. He looked at him without saying a word, but his heart sank. Chu Xiaoyang was very smart. He was too smart. He indeed had the qualifications to smile like this. Third brother, stop laughing. Do you hate Ninger that much? You're so happy to hear that her life is in danger? What is your heart made of exactly? Is your blood cold? Can't you wait for her to die? Chu Xiaobai forcefully gritted his teeth. He suddenly charged over and pulled out the sword on the window frame, placing it against Chu Xiaoyang's neck. Hurry and take out the snow ginseng to save Ning, he shouted. Chu Xiaoyang did not even blink. He did not even look at Chu Xiaobai and did not care about the sword against his neck. Chapter 947. Chu Xiaoyang raised his brows at Mo Chuan and said with a gentle smile, All right, if you want the snow ginseng to save her life, that's fine. Kneel down and beg me. If you kneel down and beg me, I'll give it to you. He was grinning from ear to ear as he stared right at Mo Chuan's face. His eyes did not contain a single trace of a smile. Rather, it was like a cat playing with a mouse. Third brother, you're crazy. He is the emperor. The emperor. You actually want the emperor to kneel down to you. Chu Xiaobai was stunned. He looked at Chu Xiaoyang like he was looking at a stranger, not daring to believe that this was the third brother he was familiar with. He had already gone completely crazy. Mo Chuan knew that Chu Xiaoyang was not crazy. He was just too clear-headed and too smart. He knew how to grasp the opportunity. That's right. This was the best opportunity for Chu Xiaoyang to humiliate himself. He had thought that this moment would come, but he had no other choice. In order to save her, he could endure all the ridicule, insults, and humiliation. He heard Chu Xiaoyang continue to say with a cold smile, What, you won't kneel down? That's right, you are the ruler of the kingdom, being the emperor for over 10 years, full of vigor. Every day, it is others kneeling to you. When have you, Chu Mo Chuan, ever kneeled to others? But the wheel of fortune has turned. Today, it is you, Chu Mo Chuan, begging me. Not me, Chu Xiaoyang. Do you still remember how you forced me to do it? Now, I want you to taste the humiliation of kneeling to others. Mo Chuan had already decided to kneel, but after hearing his words, he straightened his knees and his back became straight without bending. Chu Xiaoyang, I know you want to take revenge and humiliate me, but I don't care. I only want to ask you one thing. If I kneel to you, you'll give me the snow ginseng, right? As a man, you have to do what you say. Chu Xiaobai anxiously shouted. Emperor, you can't. How can you kneel to my third brother? You are the emperor. Mo Chuan turned a deaf ear and just looked at Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaoyang slightly narrowed his eyes, and a cold glow of revenge flashed in his eyes. He said with a cold smile, in the end, you just can't throw away your face as the emperor. You don't want to kneel, that's fine. Just wait for her to die in 24 hours. Ha, ha. You schemed to take her from me, and you've married her, but so what? In the end, you won't be able to get her. She doesn't belong to you at all. Chu and Mo Chuan, you can't believe it. This is heaven's punishment for you. This is punishment for stealing something that doesn't belong to you. You will see the girl you love lying in your arms, her whole body festering with the venom and dying. I don't want your throne. I don't want anything. I just want to see your heartbroken face. It must be very exciting. Very good to see. Ha ha ha. Xiao Bai's Chu. Chu Xiao Bai's hand was violently trembling from his anger, and he couldn't even hold his sword properly. A shallow wound was left on Chu Xiaoyang's neck. CHS, if you don't take out the snow ginseng, I'll kill you. He shouted. Chu Xiaoyang coldly looked at him, not caring about his threat at all. His heart was already filled with the joy of revenge. Chu Xiaoyang coldly looked at him and did not care about his threat at all. His heart was already filled with the joy of revenge. What did it count for? Chu Xiaoyang, did not care about his life at all. Chu Xiaoyang did not care about his life at all. Chapter 948. Chu Mo Chuan, I'll ask you one last time. Are you going to kneel or not? Chu Xiaoyang revealed a smile as he confidently looked at Mo Chuan. He hated him. The more he hated him, the more he wanted to see him beg for mercy under his claws. Mo Chuan's knuckles cracked, and his eyes were filled with a deathly stillness. He knew that Chu Xiaoyang was venting the anger in his heart, but when he heard him curse her die in such a vicious tone, he was so angry that he wanted to smash the other side's teeth. But he knew that Chu Xiaoyang was speaking the truth. If he couldn't obtain the snow ginseng, she would die and he would lose her forever. All right, I'll kneel down right now. Chu Xiaoyang, I hope you can do what you say. You can take out the snow ginseng and save her life. Mo Chuan's heart was filled with determination as he loudly said this. Emperor, Chu Xiaobai loudly shouted as the sword in his hand fell to the ground. His hands violently trembled, and he couldn't help closing his eyes. He couldn't bear to see this scene. His chest was filled with anger. Seeing Chu Xiaoyang humiliating the emperor like this, he really wanted to stab Chu Xiaoyang's heart with his sword, but he knew that Chu Xiaoyang did not care about force or persuasion. He was not afraid of any threats. He was not even afraid of death. As long as he could torture his enemy, he would disregard everything. He hated himself for being powerless, unable to stop his third brother's crazy actions. Mo Chuan closed his eyes and then opened them again. He did not hesitate at all as he bent his knees and kneeled down in front of Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaobai heard the soft sound of his knees hitting the ground, and his body violently trembled. He closed his eyes even tighter. He really did not want to see the emperor being humiliated like this by his third brother. Chu Mo Chuan, Chu Mo Chuan, did you never think that there would be a day where you would kneel in front of me? Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaoyang's body was straight as he stood in front of Mo Chuan. His chin was raised high as he looked down at Mo Chuan. His chest was filled with an indescribable excitement and pleasure from his revenge. He had never been this happy or excited in his life. Say it, beg me, loudly beg me. He stared at Mo Chuan with an expressionless face as he coldly said, Only kneeling? Not enough. This was far from enough. He wanted to make his enemy suffer more pain so that he would not lower his head to anyone. Mo Chuan's face was pale, without a trace of blood. His deep black eyes shined brightly. He was born proud and had never lowered his head to beg anyone. Even if his life was in danger, he would never lower his head to anyone. But in order for her to live, What did this humiliation and torture count for? Even if Chu Xiaoyang wanted his life, he would give it to him without any hesitation. Chu Xiaoyang, I beg you. I beg you to be merciful. Please save her, he shouted. Hearing his words, Chu Xiaobai's tightly closed eyes couldn't help letting out tears. His entire body was trembling as his heart filled with hatred. He hated his third brother and hated himself. Chu Xiaoyang laughed into the sky again. After he finished laughing, he lowered his head and raised a finger with a smile. A Xiao Chuan and Seyang Chuchu, what conditions? Mo Chuan's pupils shrank, and he tightly gritted his teeth. Chapter 949. No, I definitely won't agree, Mo Chuan firmly replied. Chu Xiaoyang, if you want the jade seal, I'll give it to you. If you want the throne, I'll give it to you. Even if you want my life, I'll give it to you without any hesitation. You could take everything I have, but only her, you can't. Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold laugh. But don't forget, you're the one begging me right now. If I don't save her, she will only have death. Hearing this, Chu Xiaobai couldn't hold it in anymore. With a putong sound, he also kneeled down in front of Chu Xiaoyang and looked up at him with tears in his eyes. Third brother, I've never begged you for anything in my life. I'm only begging you for this one thing. Please save Ning. The emperor has already given you the throne. Isn't the thing you want the most the throne? You can't be too greedy. Chu Xiaoyang coldly cut him off. I'm greedy? The greedy one is clearly him, Chu Mo Chuan. He has already taken the throne from me, but he is still not satisfied. He has taken the woman I love the most from me, humiliated me, laughed at me, and looked down on me. Now I'm just taking back all the things he has taken from me. If we're talking about greed, is there anyone more greedy than Chu Mo Chuan in this world? He made Chu Xiaobai speechless. Chu Xiaobai knew that Chu Xiaoyang was speaking nonsense, but he couldn't find any words to refute him. Chu Mo Chuan, Chu Xiaoyang, keep my words. As long as you write the edict, I'll immediately take out the snow ginseng to save Ning Er's life. Relax, I won't go back on my words. No matter how heartless I, Chu Xiaoyan, am, I won't leave my woman to die. Chu Xiaoyang looked at Mo Chuan with a playful smile on his face. He was confident that Mo Chuan would agree to his conditions, because he had no other choice. But what he didn't expect was that Mo Chuan was kneeling in front of him. He had a firm expression as he shook his head and spat out a single word. No. Chu Xiaoyang's smile froze, and he looked at him in disbelief. What are you saying? Don't you know the consequences of not agreeing? She will die. Don't you love Ning? Do you have the heart to watch her die? If you return her to me, you won't lose out at all. She was originally my woman, and I will save her. Even if you can't have her, you can still see her. Didn't you say that you knew how to love? Is this how you love her? At the end of the day, you're a selfish bastard. You don't love her at all, and you don't deserve to love her. And Mo Chuan looked right into his eyes and said word for word, Chu Xiaoyang, the one who doesn't understand love is you. Even now, you still refuse to come to your senses. I can't agree to your conditions because I've always respected her wishes. I know that she would rather die than return to your side and become your exclusive slave. I will give her to you. You can take everything I have. I'm willing to use everything to exchange for the snow ginseng that can save my life, but only her, I can't. She's not a commodity or a bargaining chip. She's a person. Each of his words was as heavy as 1,000 caddies, powerful and resonating. Chu Xiaobai almost wanted to cheer for his words. He looked at Mo Chuan with eyes of worship and admiration. This was the emperor that he admired and admired. Third brother could never compare. Ning, who did not choose the wrong person. Chapter 950. Chu Xiaoyang giggled as he clapped twice. Ninger really is a fool. It's a pity that your sweet words can fool her, but you can't fool me, Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Mo Chuan, you're simply selfish. You would rather let her die than give her to another man. What use is there in your flowery words? As long as I don't give you the snow ginseng, she will quickly become a dead person. Don't regret it at that time. He suddenly withdrew the smile on his face and coldly said, Since you don't agree to my conditions, then you can leave. I will not hand over the snow ginseng. I have hidden the snow ginseng in a very hidden place. Other than me, no one can find it. Don't think of getting a single word out of my mouth. Chuamo Chuan, I don't care about your throne. I like seeing you in pain and seeing you suffer. I like seeing your loved ones die in front of you. If you want to kill me, that's fine, but if you want the snow ginseng, that's impossible. Chu Xiaobai looked at Chu Xiaoyang in a daze and said in a hoarse voice, Third brother, what is your heart made of? How could you say such cruel and heartless things? Can you bear to see Ning die? So, your love for her is fake. Ning is right. You don't love her at all. You just want to possess her and have her belong to you alone. You don't love her. You don't love her at all. Shut up. It's not up to you to interfere in my affairs. Love, what is love? Chu Xiaobai, how old are you? Do you understand love? Don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. You like her. You already liked her when she was still my princess. Is the word Ning, there's something you can call? She even affectionately calls you Xiaobai. Humph, Chu Xiaobai, what kind of good thing are you? You are my blood-related little brother, but you seduce my sister-in-law behind my back. Do you even have the face to criticize me? Chu Xiaoyang snorted at him as he spoke with a cold smile. Chu Xiaobai's face instantly turned red, and he angrily shouted, It's true that I like her, but I only have feelings for her. There is nothing between us. I have never seduced her before. You keep saying that she's my sister-in-law, but before you saw her face, did you ever think of her as your wife? Did you love her at that time? Did you wish for her to die earlier at that time? You treated her as a thorn in your side. You are not worthy to be her husband at all. Chu Xiaoyang coldly said, I don't want to waste words with you right now. Chu Mo Chuan, if you don't agree to my conditions, then immediately disappear from my sight. I hate seeing you kneel in front of me like a coward. Do you know what you look like right now? You are like a pitiful beggar kneeling on the ground, begging for my charity. He spoke in a harsh and sarcastic manner, using the sharpest words to hurt Mo Chuan. He wanted to humiliate the other side. He wanted to use all his strength to humiliate him. Even he Xiaoyang, He was suddenly worried. Would the emperor take his third brother's life in a fit of rage? Mo Chuan stared at Chu Xiaoyang. His face was snow white, and his eyes were black, like a bottomless abyss. Chapter 9:51. Very good. I won't beg you anymore. Your conditions, I won't agree to them no matter what. After saying this, he turned around and jumped out of the window. Chu Mo Chuan, stop. Come back. Chu Xiaoyang never thought that he would leave like this. He rushed to the window in a rush and shouted out in a sharp voice, I haven't finished speaking yet. I can change my conditions. I will change my conditions. Mo Chuan's footsteps stopped, and he turned around. His red wedding robes fluttered in the wind, making his face look very pale. What conditions? Although he knew that Chu Xiaoyang would not give up this easily, he still had a trace of hope. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes turned, and he thought about it. I don't want you to marry her to me. She is still your Chu Mo Chuan's empress. But I want her to accompany me for one night. I want your wedding night. You can agree to this condition. She won't know who I am, and I won't tell her who I am. As long as the light is blown out, she won't see anything and won't know anything. Chu Xiaoyang, you're too shameless. You can even say such despicable, shameless, disgusting words. You're not a man at all. Chu Xiaobai's face turned blood red, and he began to curse at Chu Xiaoyang again. Chu Xiaoyang gave an uncaring smile and said, I have a temper. If I want something, I will spare no effort to obtain it. Even if I can't obtain her heart, I will obtain her body. Chu Mo Chuan, as long as you let her accompany me for one night, I promise you that I won't bother her in the future. I just want her for one night. This condition shouldn't be too much, right? Pa! What answered him was Mo Chuan's hot slap to his face. This slap was very heavy. Chu Xiaoyang felt his cheeks heat up and a bloody taste came out of his mouth. Chu Mo Chuan, you dare hit me. Based on what? Do you know that her life is in my hands? If I don't save her, she will die. Chu Xiaoyang went crazy with rage. His eyes turned red like a wild beast as he roared at Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan did not say a single word. After hitting Chu Xiaoyang, he looked at Chu Xiaoyang with an extremely disdainful gaze before turning around and leaving without looking back. Chu Mo Chuan, come back. Don't you want the snow ginseng to save her life? Come back and beg me. Kneel down and kowtow to me, and I will give it to you. Come back. Mo Chuan's disdainful gaze instantly defeated Chu Xiao Mo Chuan's heart. He looked at the empty window in disbelief. Mo Chuan's red figure had already disappeared. You go like this? You go. Wasn't he bent on saving her life? Didn't he give up everything to save her? Say go. He hadn't even finished enjoying the thrill of victory when he was suddenly slapped in the face by the other party. The anger in his chest hadn't been vented yet. How could he just leave like that? Chu Mo Chuan, I'm telling you, if I don't save her, she can only die. Do you hear me? Scram back here for father. Chu Xiaoyang angrily cursed out. His eyes were filled with the look of disdain Mo Chuan gave him before he left. It was like he was looking at a pile of trash, a pile of dog shit. Chapter 952. Chu Xiaobai stood up from the ground without saying a word. He did not care about Chu Xiaoyang, who was screaming out the window like a madman. He picked up the jade seal that Chu Xiaoyang and Mo Chuan had ignored and put it into his chest. He then picked up the imperial edict with the jade seal and tore it into pieces. Then he waved his hand at Chu Xiaoyang, and the pieces of paper fell down like snowflakes, falling onto Chu Xiaoyang's head, body, and shoulders. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly turned around from the window and stared at Chu Xiaobai with dark eyes. What are you doing? What did you just tear? Where's the edict? Where's my abdication edict? Chu Xiaobai, you actually tore my abdication edict. I'll kill you. He picked up a piece of paper from his shoulder, and after looking at it, his eyes turned red. With a wild roar, he charged at Chu Xiaobai. Chu Xiaobai's figure flashed, and he dodged this wild tiger-like attack. He turned his palm and hit Chu Xiaoyang's back, causing Chu Xiaoyang to fall to the ground. Chu Xiaoyang's martial arts were not below Chu Xiaobai's, but his mind was in chaos. That move revealed an opening, and he was easily knocked down by Chu Xiaobai. But Chu Xiaobai had only used less than 10% of his strength, so Chu Xiaoyang was not injured at all. He stood up from the ground, and with a wave of his right hand, a cold, glowing long sword appeared in his hand. Chu Xiaobai, you forced me to do this. You're seeking death yourself. He stabbed at Chu Xiaobai's chest. With a chi sound, the long sword pierced through his chest. It went from Chu Xiaobai's chest to his back, and blood immediately dyed his snow-white clothes red. Chu Xiaobai's body slightly swayed, but he still did not fall. He did not look at the sword piercing his body. His eyes filled with tears as he looked at Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaoyang was stunned as he looked at Chu Xiaobai's clothes dyed red. He saw his handsome face turn pale and his body waver. His hand holding the sword hilt began to violently tremble. Why didn't you dodge? Why? I didn't do it on purpose. Xiaobai, you clearly could have dodged this sword. Why didn't you dodge it? Chu Xiaoyang forcefully pulled out his sword, and blood sprayed out from Chu Xiaobai's chest. That warm blood splashed onto Chu Xiaoyang's face, and it was like a burning flame was burning him. When the sword was pulled out, Chu Xiaobai could no longer stand. His body swayed, and he fell down. Chu Xiaoyang charged over and hugged him. His fingers moved like lightning as he quickly poked several acupuncture points on Chu Xiaobai's chest to help him stop the bleeding. Then he quickly took out some medicine from his chest. People who practice martial arts like them would always carry Jinchuang ointment with them. A medicine? He tore the front of his clothes into a mess and found that his chest was empty. Only then did he realize that he was wearing luxurious clothes to attend a banquet in the palace. How could he have put any kind of wound medicine in it? Xiao Xiao, he came. Father's Fu. Chu Xiaoyang raised his voice and roared, but it was silent outside, and there was not a single person. He immediately understood that the Fu family's secret guards must have been silently taken care of by Mo Chuan. He gritted his teeth in hatred. Chu Mo Chuan, if Xiaobai dies, I'll take your life with him. Chapter 953. Chu Xiaoyang stumbled out of the peach blossom little house. His footsteps were weak, and his mind was in a mess, forgetting to use his qinggong. Only when the cool night wind blew on his burning cheeks did his mind clear up a bit. There were two thunderbolts rumbling in his mind, and he was almost unable to think. Ninger had been poisoned and was about to die. Xiaobai had been injured by a sword and was about to die. One was his most beloved girl, and the other was his closest brother. Why did the people closest to him have to leave him? Why? He really wanted to shout into the sky. He really wanted to roar out, and he really wanted to curse out loud. But he couldn't do anything right now. He had to quickly save Xiao Bai's life. No matter what, he couldn't let his hands be stained with his little brother's blood. He couldn't. He charged into the underground secret room in a single breath and placed the unused snow ginseng there. Although the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng was a rare treasure, he did not treat it as a treasure. He kept it because when he saw it, he couldn't help thinking of her. The 1,000-year-old snow ginseng had the miraculous effect of curing all kinds of poisons. With it, Chu Xiaobai could be saved. Chu Xiaoyang knew how powerful his sword was. The sword had pierced through Chu Xiaobai's lungs, and although it did not pierce through his heart, it had caused him to lose a large amount of blood, making it very dangerous. But there was only half a snow ginseng. If he saved Xiaobai, he couldn't save her. Who did he have to save? Chu Xiaoyang held the snow ginseng and fell into a painful struggle. In front of Mo Chuan, he spoke with deep hatred. Even when Mo Chuan was kneeling in front of him, he did not let go. But if he asked himself honestly, could he really watch her die and not save her? Was he really like what Chu Xiaobai said, wishing for her to die? He hated her. In front of the West Chu and East Qin countries' thousands of eyes, she had written a divorce letter to divorce him, making him lose all face. He hated her. When she boarded Nam Mu Qiuo's carriage and did not look back, he hated her. When he took out his heart and gave it to her, but she did not even look back, he hated her. When she wore a red veil and married another man, becoming someone else's bride, he hated her even more. But the deeper the hate, the deeper the love. When he heard that she was going to die, his heart trembled. In this world, only he could save her. In his hand was the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng that saved her life. He thought that this was the best gift the heavens had given him. After going around in circles, she could finally return to his side. The snow ginseng in his hands had become the best leverage he could use to blackmail Ma Bai. It was his most powerful weapon, but Chu Xiaoyang never would have dreamed that this weapon would lose its effectiveness. And Mo Chuan actually did not accept his conditions. He would rather let her die than let Chu Xiaoyang have her. Even if it was just for a short night, he was not willing. Since it was like this, why would Chu Xiao Ling medicine to save her? Save her, and then watch her become someone else's bride with his own eyes? Ma Bai Chuan Xiao Bai Ling Su Shi Chuan. Xiao Chun, king and a man. He, Chu Xiaoyang, would not be a fool like this. Not to mention that Chu Xiaobai was his blood-related little brother. Blood was thicker than water. How could he watch Chu Xiaobai die and not save him? Chu Xiaoyang quickly made his decision. He wanted to save Chu Xiaobai. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.